right. And we should be live. Oh, sorry I'm a bit late, everybody. Oh, what a day so far. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, I had a busy day. I had a full day. Uh, I did I didn't do much actually. Most of today was just talking, helping people, and reacting to things. And then finally realizing that I wasn't going to have enough time to cook some dinner, ordering mechas, and then having it delivered to the wrong house, I presume, because it never arrived. And then, yeah, we just did a quick run to directly and just ate at the mechas, and I just got back and I'm puffed a little bit. Um, so yeah, that was my evening, real quick. But yes, what a day! What a day! What a day! Godot 4.2 is finally out, so that is obviously the news for today. Well, it's not the only news for today. There's quite a bit of news for today, but that one is probably the one that I do think is biggest. The other thing, of course, is that our game jam is fully in motion, and I actually need to check the messages because um, I haven't done that since I was trying to get food. um, that said, it's nice and busy on the XR Discord. So on the Godot Discord on the XR channel. Um, yeah, it looks like a lot of people are trying stuff out. There's a couple of problems that people are running into, especially around deploying to Quest, if I've seen correctly. Which is kind of to be expected. There are a lot of changes, and with Godot 4.2 only just out, there are bound to be a few little hiccups. But hopefully most of the people are getting through it. Looks like a lot of people are helping out, which is really nice. So that is pretty damn cool. And the last bit of news that we might want to dive into, and I don't know how quickly I can find some info on that. I guess that might do well enough. But yeah, hopefully the music is off and not suddenly blowing everybody's ears out. Yeah, this was a surprise to me. I had not heard about Valve working on this. This, from my perspective at least, came out of nowhere. And it's really interesting. Is this the one? Is this the no, the Steam Link VR? I need to find. I guess it's part of the same one. I don't think that's part of the same thing because it says here, extend your stream gaming experience to your mobile device, TV, VR, headset, or PC. All you need is your local network or internet connection. Or is it just that it's a Steam Link for Quest? Yeah, it's from Meta Quest, and it's the fact. Okay, so Steam Link probably existed a little longer, but the fact that they have the Quest app out, which is the really cool thing. Simon, yes, it definitely is, and it has been for quite a couple of years. So, yeah, Godot has lots and lots of. It's what I've been doing for the last 7 years with Godot, is making sure that VR works and OpenXR works. Anyway, so yeah, so the big news was actually Steam Link on Quest, not specifically that Steam Link exists. And the real cool thing about Steam Link is that it allows you to connect your Quest up to Steam and have your Quest run as a PC VR headset. Oh, but we could already do that. The Oculus Link already does that. Yes, it does. But the experience here is a lot better for Steam. So the Oculus client app on PC works really well. I've actually been using it quite a lot whenever I want to use my my Quest, or either the Quest Pro or the Quest 3 as a PC VR headset. And with Godot, it works really well with just the OpenXR drivers on the Oculus side, so the Oculus OpenXR PC drivers. However, when you use that to then connect to your Steam games, the experience gets really weird because you're in your meta environment in your headset, which is then over Airlink connected to the environment in the Oculus PC, which is then sending it through to Steam VR, which is then connecting to the game. So Simon, we'll be handling stuff in a minute. I'll show you the game that I'm working on, that I've been building on stream for the last 2 weeks. So that's also OpenXR, just PC VR this, but it's and also, by the way, on my you found my YouTube channel. So if you look at the last 2 videos that I posted, the last video is about the game jam, and the video before actually is a revisited version of my video on how to get started with OpenXR. So it will tell you what to install, how to set things up. On PC VR, it's real easy. OpenXR just runs out of the box. You don't need anything extra. In order to deploy to a Quest or a Pico or any Android device, you need a extra plugin. And there's changes between Godot 4.1 and 4.2, so that's all in the video. So that's something to watch. All right. Hello, what's enough question? Because it's my first game. How to code or make games? I don't really know how to code too much. Give me some tips, website, ways of how to use GGScript. So using GGScript, obviously, that is a bit of a journey. GGScript, in my eyes, is one of the most easiest languages to learn, especially because it's so well integrated with Godot, and a lot of things just sort of, once you get it, it sort of starts to teach it yourself. Basically, you just you start recognizing the patterns, you start recognizing how things work. To get there, the best resource that I can always recommend to everyone, and of course, it's not in my search history for some reason. GDQuest. So this channel is one of the best channels out there, in my opinion, as far as just learning goes. They have some really good stuff. They have some really good videos, but they also have a couple of free utilities that you can use. There's like a whole online GDScript tutorial that you can run through. So GDQuest, I would highly recommend to anybody who's still learning the basics of Godot. They focus a lot on 2D work, but many principles into making 2D games carry over to making 3D games and other things. And obviously GGScript is the same in whatever you use it for. So the techniques that they teach you, they transfer quite well to other things. There are other people, by the way. So the other thing that I always recommend people check out is the tutorials and resources page on the documentation. So stable community tutorials. If you just like I just did, if you just Google Godot docs tutorials, you'll find this page, or you just go to community and tutorials and resources. And here there is a whole list of people who do stuff. So they've got GDScript here. Heartbeast is incredibly good. Kids Can Code is incredibly good. Mr. Z is someone that I'm not sure if he does many beginner things, but he definitely has some unbelievably cool things on there. Big Dev is cool. Actually, most of the people here are really good, but those are the ones that I personally have good experience with. Games from Scratch. This is actually more of a news / overview channel. Really recommend anybody follow Games from Scratch, because yeah, you keep really well up to date on things, and that's just not Godot. That's everything. So yeah, there's a couple of text tutorials on there, and like I said, Kids Can Code is good. But yeah, just about every. Oh, I'm in here as well. I didn't even know that. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of good sites to check out. But I think for a beginner, GDQuest and Kids Can Code are probably two of the best websites to go to. Shahin, I usually do my streams only Friday nights. I will be online a lot this weekend, so I will be on the Godot Discord from time to time, just to help everybody who is busy on the jam. Um, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put an extra stream in. We'll see how things go, and what comes my way in the weekend. I do have my family to also take care of, obviously. So we'll juggle it one way or the other. Simon, thanks. That's always good to hear. I'm glad that you are enjoying the stuff that we are doing on the channel and with Godot itself. It is quite a journey and a lot of fun to do. Anyway, I was talking about Steam Link and specifically Steam Link on the Quest. So, yeah, the Godot engine website. So this is the official website, and if you go to community, you will find the official Discord over here. So that is the best place. There's an XR channel on that Discord. That is the best place to find people. Hi, Clone Puppy. How you going? So anyway, so yeah, there is obviously Oculus Link, and Oculus Link is really good. But when it comes to playing Steam content, this is a much better way to do it. And the nice thing about Steam Link is, and how well this, because I've been playing with this app all afternoon, because I wanted to see how well it worked and what it did. But it's very well integrated. It works, it skips one step in that process. So going from, Quest over Airlink to the Quest PC, OpenXR runtime to then the Steam VR runtime. There is obviously a delay and a lag in there. You're skipping that. You're going directly from your Quest to Steam VR. Steam VR is directly streaming the VR content to your Quest. And it's just a better integration when you're playing Steam VR games. And for me, the reason why that is making me very excited is not the fact that I can skip the Meta client, because I will still be using the Meta OpenXR client when I am developing. Again, Godot can connect to that directly, and we can do stuff over Airlink directly, which is still the fastest way to develop, even if you eventually end up building something that's supposed to run on the Quest natively. But when it comes to PC VR, and especially the fact that that Oculus isn't really maintaining the Oculus Store, as far as I'm aware. They're focusing really on the Oculus Store on the Quest itself, which makes a lot of sense, of course, for Meta. What PC VR content there is on Steam. And the sad thing is that in the early days of VR, there were a lot of people making content or VR content on Steam for PC. But because the industry kind of moved to standalone to devices as the Quest, with the focus on VR really being either on, native running on Quest, or, devices as the PSVR 2, PC VR gaming has been kind of on the decline the last couple of years, which I think is incredibly sad, because PC VR gaming has so much to offer. And I think the biggest problem there is that even though you could sell your PC VR games over Steam, the market has been relatively small on that platform, because the buy-in is much higher. You need a powerful PC, and then you need to buy, a high-end PC VR headset, such as, it's 4 years old. I'm still using it. I love it. My Index. Now, full disclosure, Valve donated this to us, which is incredible. But regardless, I love it. It's one of the best headsets that I have for PC. But it's 4 years old, and it's still really expensive and hard to get. Now you have the Beyond that came out that everybody's raving off. Unfortunately, I don't have a Beyond. but it again works with the lighthouses. It works with the index controllers, and it's a headset that is a generation ahead of the index. But it's pricey. It's not for everyone. We have, the Vario. We have uh, so many headsets for PC that are really only bought by enthusiasts. So the PC VR market is relatively small. The problem is that when it comes to developing VR content, the PC VR market is the most inviting. It is the easiest to get set up in. It's the easiest to get started in. It's the environment where you have a powerful enough PC that you don't immediately have to worry about the extra performance requirements of VR. So it is a much more inviting platform for people who want to learn VR or who want to, like indie developers who don't have the time to endlessly optimize their games, who just want to build something, pull off a bunch of assets off the internet or have some other friends help out to create some assets and build a nice game and then, sell it through Steam. But they don't have a large markets, and as a result, a lot of people sort of switched off and went like, why would I go through all that effort to build a game if there's nothing that I can sell it to? Yeah, I can sell it on Quest. There's a market. I think, what was it? 20 or 30 million units sold at the Quest 2, something like that. Maybe more. That's a huge market. But if you want to develop for Quest, then all of a sudden the difficulty level becomes a lot higher. The Quest has much more limited power. So for an indie developer that doesn't have the budget and experience to get the most out of a system, that's a difficult thing to get into. And of course, when you look at game engines like Unity or Godot, we try to make that process easier and try to remove a lot of the difficulty away from the developer. But there's only so much that the game engine can do. And especially for a game engine like Godot, where we don't have, hundreds of millions of dollars in budget to develop stuff, a lot is put into the hands of the developer of the game to know what things are performant and what things will kill the performance on a device like the Quest. So yeah, there's a higher barrier of entry there. So where the money is, where if you create a game, you have a chance to actually sell the game and reach an audience, the difficulty level is much higher. And I think that is a big reason why the VR market has not exploded, because it's not because of devices. I think the devices by now, I received my Quest 3 I think last week. Yeah, I think I had it last week. I love this thing, by the way. This is amazing. I can highly recommend this. Absolute amazing headset. I think that the Quest 3 is everything that we want in a headset. But again, even though it's more powerful than the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro, it still puts the bar a lot higher for a developer to actually build content for. Steam Link is the thing that bridges that in my eyes. And again, yes, you could build PC VR games that through Oculus Link you could run, but the experience here is much more seamless. Plus that it is also much more likely that your users are going to be willing to use Steam Link to access their Steam library and then, suddenly go and look for Steam VR games and maybe find your game. Because Steam Link doesn't just let you play your VR games, it also lets you play normal games. And that is a bit of a mixed bag, because some people like me love that, and other people sort of goes like, why? I've got a 4K 40-inch TV that I've got my PlayStation hooked up to. I don't need this. And they're right, because that's an awesome way to play games. But there is also something to say that if you're in a busy household and your kids are using the TV and you just want to play your game by yourself, to have a headset on and suddenly have a large screen projected in front of you on which you play whatever game you like to play, um, then that is actually a really interesting thing to have. So earlier today, of course, the first thing that I booted up the moment that I had Steam Link running was Half-Life Alyx. I hadn't played Half-Life Alyx for a while, and for a game that is now 4 years or so old, my God, does that still look beautiful? It's amazing, and it just ran incredibly smooth. Sure, I've got a 5G Wi-Fi set up here, so that is, I guess, at least a prerequisite to have decent performance. And this is a relatively beefy PC that helps a lot too. But the experience was butter smooth, and with the resolution of the Quest 3, yeah, that was very pleasant. Well, let me check on chat for a sec. I'm surprised to see that Quest 2 sales have picked up since the price drop. Yeah, that is really interesting. Sorry about that. I think actually that is an incredibly smart choice from Meta, an unexpected one, because when the Quest 2 obviously came out, they kind of shelved the Quest 1. And while I can kind of get that, because the Quest 1 was really underpowered for what it needed to be, and really felt like it's, well, I wouldn't say a step. I would say the Go was a stepping stone device, and I feel sorry for everybody who bought a Go. I have a Go. I think I used it 3 times, and it's been a bookstand ever since. And that is nothing to say that wasn't a good device. It was an amazing device for the time, and I just don't really understand why it was made, because it didn't do much extra that the what was this, the Samsung one, the Gear VR, did. And it was only a couple of months later that the Quest 1 came out, and that did everything that the Quest Go didn't. So, yeah, weird choice, that one. But anyway, then, the Quest 2 came out, and they kind of shelved the Quest 1. So now it pissed a few of my friends off who bought a Quest 1 and sort of went like, ¿Qué pasa? I've only had this thing for a year, and now I can't play it anymore. What's going on here? But at the same time, I kind of get that decision. But I'm glad to see that they changed their minds on this. That even though there is a Quest Pro and there's now a Quest 3, that they are keeping the Quest 2 alive, hopefully for as long as possible. Hopefully they're going to convince app developers to keep supporting the Quest 2, even though obviously the Quest 3 does have a lot more power, and eventually we're going to see games that require that power. Yeah, I really do hope that they keep the Quest 2 alive a lot longer. And the fact that they are still selling it alongside the Quest 3 as a discounted model is amazing. And the fact that people are still buying it is also amazing. We hear everywhere that VR is dead, VR isn't dead. And the sales of the Quest prove that. The fact that people are still buying them, the fact that there are games that have millions of units sold. I think that VR is only at the beginning of its life, and that we have a long road ahead of us in which we are going to see more and more successes. And again, I strongly believe that something like Steam Link, as simple as it seems, is going to play a really, really big role in that, simply because it opens up a whole game library. You've got 20 million people with a Quest already. There are now lots and lots of people buying the Quest 3. And they're all suddenly going to go like, hey, I've played through my catalog of, the higher quality Quest games. I need to now wait a couple of more months before the next really good one comes out. Oh, look at that. There's a whole bunch of things I can play on Steam. There's just so much more value to get out of the Quest at that point in time. And with PC VR headsets still being in this situation where your only choice is to buy very expensive units, all of a sudden, first of all, you have a whole bunch of people with Quest 2s that have this much lower bar of entry way of playing PC VR games. And you have everybody in the Quest 3, or anybody who now wants to get into PC VR gaming can suddenly go like, you know what? I actually can buy a Quest 3, I can put Steam Link on there, and I can play these higher quality games, and I can play them wireless. I can, as long as I've got a good Wi-Fi router, I'm there. Yeah, the other thing indeed is, and that's the thing that maybe I wish I wouldn't have to say that it was the most surprising thing, but it was. And I kind of had the same feeling when I first used the Oculus or the Quest 3 as well, where the onboarding, the first time turning it on, and suddenly with the automatic Guardian system, um, because of the depth sensor, there are a lot of polished things in the Quest 3 that the older Quests missed and lacked. But I also, and I'm very sorry to anybody from Meta who's listening right now, I also have to say that I'm one of the people who does not like the home environment. There are a number of UI things that Meta does really, really well, except for the most important one, which is your selection of games. It's not intuitive when you boot up a Quest 3 and you put it on and you want to play a game that you already have. You then have to go through one or two steps before you find that game and can run it, because it throws you into here's what's new and hot instead of here's what I have and what I've been playing for the last 3 weeks and I want to continue playing it. So I've been a little bit disappointed on that side. And then I install Steam Link, and then I start up Steam Link, and I'm first of all presented with an incredibly seamless process of setting it up. Starts up, it immediately finds my running Steam on my computer. I click on it. The next step, I do have to admit, probably worked really well because I am on a Quest 3, which is that it then gives me a code. This is, of course, nothing new in Steam. There's so many other environments that work the same way. But the pass-through on the Quest 3 is good enough that I could walk from my play space to my keyboard, type in the code, walk back to my play space. I can remember that in previous iterations, I would have to take the headset off and then go to the computer and do something on the computer and then go back on the headset and then off the headset, and you go through a few rounds like that. Steam Link was really just click, go, 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 and the moment that it's linked up, I see my library of games in front of me. And I can very easily scroll through it, and I see Half-Life, and I click on Half-Life, and boom, I'm in Half-Life. Really, really polished. First impressions, obviously, I've only worked with it for a few hours. Maybe I'll start seeing the flaws and the things they didn't do well until I work with it a little bit longer. I do have to admit that if I look at the Steam UI itself, it does a number of things really good. It does a number of things where I'm sort of going like, that's a very busy interface, a very crowded interface, hard to find what you need to do. But I do think, even with Steam on the desktop, that when you have a number of games in your library, the interface is really, really good. And they have translated that onto the Quest incredibly well. Not automated, that is, I think, the biggest problem that VR has, is there are a handful of games nowadays that are so good that I keep coming back to them, whether it is, Beat Saber or Pistol Whip, which are my two favorites on the Quest. Half-Life, obviously, on PC VR. My son is completely crazy about Blades and Sorcery, so that's one that he plays a lot. So there's a number of games. Job Simulator. Let's not forget Job Simulator. But there's a number of games that are very replayable and are a reason that I still pick up my Quest from time to time. But even though there are more and more games, the number of really, really good games is still fairly small. The other thing, which that's a bit of a shame, but I kind of get it, but at the same time, I don't like it. I think the games are too expensive. There are a number of games on the Oculus that are 60 or something dollars that are not $60 games, in my opinion. Not when you compare them to what you can get for $60 on a console or what you can get for $60 on Steam. That's not to say that they're not good games. They are incredible games. But at $60, I have to make choices. I will buy a $60 game once a month, if that. And I make a choice, and it's and often when there's a really good launch on consoles, because I have the same problem on consoles. I do not understand why Horizon is over 100 Australian here. I'm talking in Australian dollars, by the way, so keep that in mind, please. Australian dollars are a bit higher than US dollars. When I clearly remember that games used to cost half that. But with Horizon, I don't mind shelling out $100 because it's a game that I know that I will play for 50 hours, and then I have now played through 3 times. That's how much I love Forbidden West. I'm talking about Forbidden West in this case. And I haven't found that yet on VR games. But I think a big part of that is that in order to get a game of the quality and size like an Horizon Forbidden West, which of course now on PlayStation VR 2, Horizon Call of the Mountain, which I have luckily been able to play at a friend's place because my bank account says no on the PlayStation VR, unfortunately. It's an amazing game, but you cannot make a game like that for Quest. And that's Quest's Achilles heel, and that's what this solves, because Half-Life Alyx is a game like that. Half-Life Alyx was the game that proved to me that PC VR gaming is something that can get people hooked on it. But we need more titles like that. And those titles are only going to appear if studios know that when they put that much effort into creating a game, they have a market to sell to. And again, at this point in time, that market only exists on Quest, and Quest cannot run those sort of games. Till this. So I think that's what's been holding VR back. And that is why I share the feeling that, yes, there are a lot of games, but there are very few games that really grasp me on VR. And actually, that also brings me to another point that I think is a weakness, quote, misconception of the success of VR. And the way that I look at this is, I hear a lot of comparisons made, or these were comparisons that were being made in the past, of look at the Game Boy versus I think it was the Vita. The Game Boy being a handheld that was incredibly successful, and the Vita being an arguably better device but failed. But where you then have the comparison made that, hey, look at how badly the Vita sold compared to how VR is selling. VR must be the same. And I don't agree with that comparison. And the reason for that is that when we are looking at these sort of devices, like a Game Boy, when we come back to when the Game Boy came out, the Game Boy was a revolutionary device, a handheld game system that could actually run multiple games and had a quality screen. But the success of the Game Boy was very much a factor of Nintendo having access to a lot of developers who knew how to make games for the Game Boy because that's the sort of games that we had been making for 10, 20 years before. And there were still a lot of developers who, even though they were now working on much more proficient hardware, still knew how to make games for such constricted hardware. It was even a challenge. A lot of people loved that. While the Vita should have just been as successful, and for some reason those games didn't appear, and that is why the Vita failed. When you then compare that to Quest, the reason the games aren't there, or I shouldn't say Quest, on VR in general, the reasons why the games weren't there in the beginning, and now they're getting there, but we're still at that beginning in a sense, is because we didn't have that knowledge. We knew how to make desktop games. We knew how to make console games. But you can't just take a console game or a desktop game and put it onto VR. It takes a lot of effort to turn it into a VR game, and it takes even more effort to turn that into a game that's fun to play in VR. And I think it took a long time for the VR to figure out what was actually fun to play in VR. And again, I look at indie game development then, one of the really great things about PC VR at that point in time was anybody could do things. And what you were seeing was that the really big hits in PC VR were all games that came out of experimentation, game jams, where people, instead of trying to replicate a game that already existed, went like, how can I make a game that's fun to play in VR? And when you do that, you get hits in VR. And we've seen them. I've named a few. Beat Saber, Job Simulator for me is a very good one. Half-Life Alyx I can always name. Although that Half-Life Alyx is one of those games that is a bit of a difficult one, because that is one where the production value or the cost of production already gets to a point where the market isn't big enough to support developing those sort of games. When I look at Half-Life Alyx, I don't know how well Valve did on that one, but I wonder financially whether that was successful. The same thing that I have with Call of the Mountain. Beautiful game, absolutely gorgeous, but I would be surprised if Sony is ever going to make money out of it, because the market isn't sizable enough yet in order to sell enough copies of those games to justify the production costs. And that is going to be the big question, I think. That all said, I am incredibly hopeful for the future. And this is a big part of it. Steam Link came out of nowhere, Steam Link on the Quest, and it suddenly opened up a lot of doors. And this is the first time I am cautiously enthusiastic about the future of PC VR gaming. And I'm a really, really big believer that PC VR gamer is the thing where the growth of VR is going to be coming from, simply because that is the only platform where anybody can just jump in and start building and not have to worry too much about, is this going to run on limited hardware? Just purely focusing on making a game that is fun to play in VR, potentially have some success with that, and then maybe, take it to the next step and optimize it and, making it for a standalone device or something like that. Okay, I have been talking about this way too long. I hope I haven't bored you guys half to death with it, but yes. So yeah, those were really the three news items that I wanted to just talk about at the beginning of my stream. Godot 4.2 being out, amazing. I've already got my sights set on 4.3 because there's a whole bunch of things that I finished and that unfortunately didn't make it into 4.2 because I finished after the cutoff date. So now they're going into 4.3. So I am excited about that. I'm also excited about a number of things that I know that some of my other Godot developers are working on. especially the work that's currently being done on the renderer. So I'm very enthusiastic about seeing how well that all turns out, and again, also how well that works on VR. So yeah, I am excited about this. This is a big milestone. 4.2. 4.2 is feels really good in so many ways. I think for VR, 4.2 is good, um, almost good enough. It still misses one or two things, but it is those one or two things that I feel are coming in 4.3. Um, on the Vulkan side, there probably is a little bit more still left to do. So that's probably going to be 4.4, 4.5. But again, we're on a 4-month release cycle now. So that'll come before you know it. But I do feel that we're going to be in a really good spot early next year. So anybody who is developing VR games with Godot, even if there are some hurdles right now, I do believe that in, let's say, half a year from now, before a decently sized VR game can be finished, those things will be in the past. I think we will be finding solutions for those. Plus that, the compatibility render is getting really decent. I put my hand in the fire that you could make a really, really good VR game for a Quest using the compatibility renderer, where you right now build the game in 4.2, and then you release it at 4.3, so that you can use the MSAA and the improved, a few of the improved rendering features, and you would have a really good VR game in Godot. So yeah. So the second bit of news is Godot XR Jam is on the way. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope I get some jammers in the stream at some point in time. So anybody who wants to ask me some questions or things that they are stuck on, I wouldn't mind looking into one or two things on stream. And again, I'm not making any promises, but maybe I'll try and do another stream before the jam is over, so that anybody who wants to ask questions, and we can do that live. But I'll also be, like I said before, I will be on the Godot Discord regularly this weekend to answer questions. So is Malcolm, and so is all of the other people in our community. So I'm really excited to see what everybody can do in the next 2 days and 11 hours. So yeah, very excited. And then the Steam link that we just talked about. For a good deal. And again, just to remind everybody, if you go to the main Godot Engine website and you go to community, you will find the main Discord there. There is an XR channel on our Discord server that is and remains the best place to talk all things Godot XR and get help and meet a whole bunch of really cool people who really like to help out. So, I am back here in my drum game. I was playing around with one of the meshes that monkey something. This is always the problem with people. Well, even I usually use my nickname, but people's nicknames, I am terrible at remembering them. So yeah, Monkey was in the chat last week and said, I have some assets for you. Do you want to use them? And I said, sure. And he sent them through, and he's working on tweaking a few things. And yeah, there we go. So I just as a test loaded them up. So this is the drum model that he made, but it's supposed to have some textures. It nicely created the materials, but the image didn't get converted properly. And that's got to do with the original model being FBX, and I converted it to GLS, GLB. So that's GLTF. That's the word I was looking for. Did you figure out how to use the microphone and speech to text on the Quest 2, Quest 3? I have not done that, but I know that Teddy Bear has. I'm not 100% sure if he's done it on the Quest or if he's done it on PC VR. So I could be wrong there. But Teddy Bear has been experimenting a lot with speech to text and AI. So he has got these experimental environments where you're in VR and you have a computer controlled NPC across from you, and you can just talk to the NPC, and it will use speech to text to then parse the text in an AI client. The AI client will prepare the response, and then there's a text to speech to then hear the NPCs talk, which is quite impressive. Um, uh, Ron, um, I don't know. I do not have a lot of experience with WebXR myself. That is something you need to ask David Snowpack. Um, he is obviously the guy behind WebXR, and he also does a YouTube stream. So just in case people do not know David, Snowpack Games, I believe his channel is called. Yes, it is. So at Snowpack Games, he streams, I think every week, or used to stream every week. But I've seen how stream 2 months, 4 months. So maybe he streams every month. I'm not sure, or this because he used to 3 months ago. But yeah, he does a lot of WebXR stuff, and he streams as well, and does things there. As far as I'm aware, the way that it works is that you would have Godot running on a server, and you would be debugging on that server, but then the connection to the headset would be over HTTPS. But I don't know for sure because I don't do much with WebXR. So yeah. I am thirsty after today. So excuse me while I refill my drink. So anyway, Monkey produced some meshes for me, and I was experimenting a little bit with it. I'm hoping to get the needed textures or get updated meshes for it. We will see. So right now they're a little bit white and not that impressive, but I know that the with texturing that can change very quickly. The drum is slightly higher. I've actually scaled it down here, but I also wanted to have a look at importing here, which is actually kind of nice. But obviously I've already done it, so I'm just going to walk everybody through what I've done. Oh, Muppet Master, haha. That is his nickname. Okay. Why do I have monkey in my head? I don't know. So it's Muppet Master. I apologize, Muppet Master. I completely got your nickname wrong there. So drum models is then the GLB that I converted, and when we open that up, we can see that there's a drum in there and a couple of drumsticks. Very cool. Interesting enough, it doesn't look as high here as that it actually is. That's kind of interesting. But the things that is important here, this is, by the way, one thing that's new in Godot 2, is that you can just double click on the GLB file instead of going to the import tab here. It just opens up automatically this thing. And there's a whole lot of really cool options in here that you should be aware of, because what I've done here, it doesn't do by default. I do not really care about the GLB file. I care about what's in there. The first thing that I always do, and it's actually under this action option, is call extract materials. So standard, when you have an asset that you import in Godot, the materials will be kept inside of the scene that it creates. With extract materials, it will actually create, as you can see, individual resource files for each material. Now, the nice thing about doing it this way is not just that you can directly access these materials and then, correct them or polish them up. The nice thing about it as well is that the logic by default is so that it will no longer change these files once they are created. So if I go back into Blender and I change the material, unless I delete the material file or I specifically tell it to re-import that material file, that material file will not change. So that's something to be aware of, that if that's actually what you want to happen, that you need to make sure that you do not extract the materials yet until you're ready. But once you do, because at some point the assumption is that you might still want to tweak the mesh in Blender, but you want to leave the materials alone because you might want to alter the materials to make use of Godot specific logic, or to correct problems, or to just change the look of it. And you don't want those changes to constantly be overwritten every time that you re-import the object. I've done the same thing with meshes. So you can set a mesh save path that will then create a folder, and the same thing there goes. Instead of keeping the meshes inside of the scene, they are now saved as separate resources. In my case, that is most important because I do not care about the scene. I want to use the meshes directly, because that is what, I'm not going to use this as a single thing. I'm going to, because I'm assuming that at some point in time I will have a GLB file that contains the hi-hats and other objects of this drum. I want to access those things individually. Some of them now are. I don't have to Windows here, but some of the pop-up windows are now external, and I do believe that you can. I don't remember where that is. There are some options in some places where you can undock things. I never do. But there's a bunch of things that were changed in Godot to make them undockable. And of course, I can't find it now because I never do it. Because Godot is multi-window capable nowadays, or Godot 4 is. But there are big parts of the UI that are fixed. So I can't remember what things we can unsettle and which ones we have to keep inside. I can't really remember. But you are right. I would love to, for instance, have the script editor on a second screen. If I had a second screen, because right now I'm only working with a single screen. I really need to resolve that someday. But yeah, that is definitely something that that I know that there are parts that you can lift out, but not everything. And I do agree, it can be annoying that everything is in one screen. Okay, so so I've got these separate resources for that. So here I just created a mesh instance and then dragged in the drum model cylinder, and there I have it. And that is then linked to, as you can see, the material here, which is then redwood. But then the materials themselves didn't have the texture. So what I could do, just for fun, is at least make this a bit more red. Just so that I can see what's going on here. There we go. That is indeed a red drum. So I'm guessing that the balsa wood was for the those things. But yeah, I'm just doing this temporarily just so that we can see that that is actually two different materials. But yeah, fun stuff. Hey, Anelis, how you going? Okay, so I didn't do much more with this yet. I just I kept this in there just for scale. So eventually we can go and delete that. Obviously, last time we were messing around with these particles, so at some point I need to continue on that. And we had the color settings here, so that's going to be an interesting one because we are not using those materials at the moment. So it's going to set that on the original drum match, which is hidden. So that's temporarily disabled. I don't want to mess with that right now until I have the final textures and stuff. And I might start looking at what I want to do with those colors. Maybe I do something that the colors can be influenced on the object. I'm not sure yet. I still need to figure that one out. and I won't really decide until we have some final models, because potentially we don't do it with colors, we do it with shapes. Don't know yet. Lots of things we can do there. Okay, so that is something that we're just going to leave as is, but I do want to go and grab, remember where it is. Well, those are all the symbols, so I think that was the hand scene. That was the hand scene. So there is my old stick. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and put in a mesh instance. I'm just going to call that drumstick 2. Eventually we will remove the original one and replace it with that. And then we're going to find our drumstick. Now these are, as far as I'm aware, the same shapes. So I'm just going to grab the first one. And of course, that is wrongly oriented and way too big. That is fine, because we will change that. So let's see if we do, why is that not linked? 10%. That is still too big. We could actually see, how much did I scale this guy? That is interesting, how the scale is different. Let's go to this then. That starts to look a little bit better. Oops. Nope. I want to go and do. Okay. That one is too close. There we go. I can make that 90 degrees. And now I can move that like this. And we can see that the size is relatively good. So I'm just going to go and move that like that. I think that is good enough for what I want. And now I can delete my old drumstick, move that here. And then probably we will want to resize this capsule shape a little bit more and reposition it a little bit better. I think that is good enough. I like to oversize this a little bit. Oh, see, it's offset for some reason. That might have accidentally moved that, indeed. Nope, that was the thing that actually was moved correctly. Oh, that's very interesting. Why is my drumstick not straight? Or is that a drum thing? Any drummers in the house? Are the sticks not supposed to be exactly straight? I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. There we go. That's good enough for me. But yeah, I don't think the drumstick is completely straight. Yeah, well, like I said, you know, there is so much that you can learn, even for 2D things. A lot of things are easier to explain in 2D, but the concepts then carry over to 3D. So don't disown the 2D tutorials. They can actually be just as good as 3D tutorials when you want to begin this stuff, when you want to learn stuff. Okay, so this is the wrong one to click on. Here we go. Indeed, the balsa wood one. Again, we're missing the texture, but for now, I have no idea where a bit of a nice wood color is. But just to give it an actual color, we have a color for our drumstick. Now, obviously, once we have the proper textures, we will go and improve those things the way that it should be. Hey, Adam, how you going? I'm guessing that you probably must be more tired than I am after today, Adam. Or are you guys all you know, breathing a sigh of release now that Godot is released and all the madness is settling down, hopefully for a couple of days. So oh yeah, that's also true. Yay! Adam joined me and a handful of others as an official Godot Foundation contractor. And yeah, Welcome in the group, Adam. We're looking very much forward to working. Well, I've already been working with you for a long time, but um, working with you in a more official capacity, I guess. um, I do have to confess that we were supposed to have our XR meeting today, and I completely forgot about it. So yeah, that's a good start. You could immediately reprimand me from within your role. Okay. So, so we have our drumstick. We have one of our drums that no longer does things. So the next thing that I am really interested in knowing, now I need to double check something because I might have forgotten to do something. Which runtime? I have the Steam runtime selected. Very cool. But let's see if this works. Oh, see that my son used it. Oh yeah, definitely my son used it. Yep. Okay. Okay. Damn, I love the pass-through on this thing. I can almost read my screen. There we go. So the thing that I need to use virtual desktop one of these days and get that all figured out. Okay, boom. And now link. Steam Link. That's probably going to be complaining about the fact that it sees my son's computer. That's fun. Connect. So now it's connecting. Oh yeah, that is. I'm just moving the screen. You guys can't see this, unfortunately, but I'm moving my my Steam screen to the side. I can actually see myself. Yeah, just do create new boundary then. And how do I create a stationary boundary? Now choose your own boundary in this case because I'm on a stationary boundary. And you can go, yeah, that's good. Confirm. Cool. Sweet. So go back to Steam Link. Why did that? I guess it didn't like me not creating my my boundary in time. Because this hasn't found awaiting wireless connection. Yay! Let's connect. There we go. Yeah, I didn't like that didn't have my boundary here because I was actually using my Quest in the middle of my room before. Stream initializing, connecting to host. It's taking long. Oh, this is probably fighting with my stream now. This is going to be interesting. I hope this isn't going to break the quality of my stream. So this might not be suitable to do while I'm streaming. What is YouTube? YouTube's still saying excellent connection, so that is good. I'm also just going to go back to my index. I should have tested this out before I streamed, I guess. Why are you not liking this? Okay, let's just try it again. Here we go. Yep. Oh, now it works. Yay. Okay, so now I am in Steam. Can I go to pass-through in this? No, I cannot. That's a bit of a shame. So you must update your Steam client in order to use the full. Okay, didn't know that I wasn't updated, but I will do that momentarily. For now, I just want to run this and see if this actually works. Okay. Whoa, I can see this. But my controller's not working. Ha ha. Well, that bit does, but my input stopped. Okay, and that is, why would that be? Why? Oh, that part of it works. My buttons don't. Oh, that does. Okay. That's right. I didn't link that up. I gotta tell you guys, this looks so much better on the Quest than on the Index. I'm surprised by it. Cool. So, the big question is now, did that keep working in Steam? I am actually going to go and turn this one off because I do find it easier to use the Index on stream. Let me just, where are you? Make sure that this is powered off so it doesn't burn through my battery. Actually, before I do that, no, that's all. Dismiss, I know how that works. No, I'm gonna go to full settings and system. I just want to see why it was complaining about an update that it needed. No updates available, so I don't know. I don't know why I was complaining about that. Okay. Oh. Here we go. Powering off. All right, that was a semi-successful test of Steam Link. The reason why I'm not continuing with this is because I am a little bit worried that I'm using most of my bandwidth to stream. Although it should be okay because I got 100. Yeah, I've got 100 megabits Ethernet connection here, I think. So my computer should be working on over Ethernet. I don't know. But I do find the Index to be a little bit easier to just directly use. So that's going to be interesting. Is that going to pick it up? Let me check chat for a second. Don't worry, I'm not here to reprimand anybody. That was a joke. It's awesome. I'm going to be teaching XR Toolkit this afternoon with Godot 4.2. We'll share this and jam with my students. Brian, that is amazing. Yeah, really cool. I think I saw some of your videos about what you were doing with teaching and stuff. So I hope there are more people like you who are taking the XR experience into the classroom, because I think this is the future, and I think it is really interesting for people to learn that. So yeah, cool stuff. Okay, so I want to just make sure that stuff is working on my Index instead, so that we can continue with a few things. No, I'm not completely sure what it is that I want to do next with this, because I'm a little bit stuck on, you know, I'm not a visual effects programmer by any stretch of the imagination. Is that starting up? I think so. Boom, there we go. Now, this is the other thing. It says that it wants to update my controllers, and I cannot actually update them. Yeah, I really love the Quest 3 wireless experience. It's just that I need to make sure that everything is set up a bit better. Because like I said, I've only been playing with Steam Link since this morning. Okay, let me just run that and see if that is going to make a difference, because for some reason it's all dark in here. There we go. Starting to do something. Or is it now completely confused because it was using the Quest before? Which would be definitely possible. Not being happy for some reason. Why are you not being happy? Okay. Over here, OpenXR. That's fine. Good, I'm not very set to have Steam VR trying to simulate Meta's OpenXR Unity. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was even possible. Okay. Oh, that's not even set. So my guess is that it is right now trying to use my controllers with the Quest, but I could be wrong. I'm just going to go and hit quit on that. And then restart it. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yes, I need to just go and check my connector, see if I didn't accidentally disconnect something. Okay, are you now working? Yeah, my lights are on. Why are you not wanting to work? I might need to restart my PC. That wouldn't be cool. Because it doesn't want to do anything. It is very, very black inside. I'm gonna just see if I can restart this. Cable. Why is that completely underneath the table? That is so annoying. How am I going to do this? This one. Okay. Let's see what that does. Yep. No, that says disconnected because I unplugged you. Haha. Yay! I see something. Okay. Great. And I see an interface. Woo. Okay, so that was all that I needed to do. I just needed to restart this thing. Play. Okay. There we go. Wrong. Got this working so far. Oh, need to hit that like that, but it worked. Something tells me that this tempo is way too slow, but yeah. I didn't hit most of them there. That was kind of cool. So yeah, there are a few things that we could look at in making work better. But I'm wondering what is the best thing that we could do. Because right now, the thing that I'm most looking for at some point is to actually get some proper music in here, which I don't have right now. I need to get some ideas for the drum particles because I don't really like what they're doing. Why is this staying up like that? And why hasn't it selected a refresh rate for me? Actually, let's put it on 120. There we go. Okay. Because obviously it is fun to have some particles that spray up. Right now I'm moving where it is. That was one way of getting it to jump up where we hit. I think I need to go and bug Ilaria one of these days and say, hey, do you have some ideas for making this cool? Instead of, you know, my programmer way of doing these things. I'm trying to think of what else we could do tonight on this little project. Or if I'm right now stuck until I have some things to actually put in here. I'm not sure. It also has been a very long, tiring day. So I have to admit that thinking is not my best forte tonight. So that makes me wonder, what should we do? What should we do? What can we do right now? Because there is still work to be done on the conductor itself. Actually, when I look at my song, so that was at 160 beats per minute. That should be fine for what we were doing. So I'm not too worried about that. So what else could we start doing? What is a good next step for this? Because we did the logic last week to actually load the song, create the instruments based on what was saved in here, load all the track data. So that's all working. So where do I go from here? Where do we go from here? I am sorry, I should have prepared my stream a little bit better, but my day got thrown in disarray a little bit tonight. What's your warning here? Oh yeah, that's logical because we're using that as a. I should probably make something that if there is no parent at all, that it realizes that that warning is not needed. Okay, so I'm not really going to do something with the drum particles today. That's something I really need to get some ideas for what I want to do there. So the play effect, that was just what we're doing when we hit or miss a note. It's just a note for itself. So obviously, at some point, I'm going to want to have that as a base class so that we could have different scenes for that. Because the idea that I have is that right now we've got those blocks coming to us on the note lines, but I actually want those to be mini versions of the different instruments. So we might have a mini drum there or a mini hi-hat. Where's our hi-hat? So yeah, so oh, that one's obviously colored inside of the settings. So yes, but I'm happy with the blocks for now, just to get everything working. Now, the other thing that I don't really like, that I'm sort of wondering about, that's a good one. So we now do that in the conductor. So in the conductor, we built the drum set. Okay, cool. Okay, that's the problem. So we're creating that as instruments here. I'm just thinking about creating a default drum set in here so that we see in our scene where our drum set is. Because now we don't see the drum set until we build the song. And that makes it a bit harder to kind of create an environment here, because that's obviously sort of the next thing that we want to do is we want to create the different environments in which the player can play, because we of course don't want to just be floating in the middle of nowhere with a drum set in front of us. The initial idea that I had for an environment, for instance, is just having the drum set on stage, so we could build a simple stage or something like that. That's maybe not a bad idea just to block out. Although at that point in time, we also don't really have the sky needed anymore, because the lighting will then be inside of the hole. That could be fun. That actually could be fun. Okay. So if we just look at stage, right, under that. Don't make noise, you. So it could be like a podium, or a stage in a big hall. Well, I'm more thinking about something like this, a stage in front of an audience sort of thing. Because the other thing, of course, is what is going to be fun is having multiple versions for different songs. You open up a different stage to play in. Okay, so is that something then that we want to put in the main scene? I think so. Because the other thing that I'm thinking about, that at some point in time we have to make sure that we have um, like a menu system that we can use, so a set of drums that we can use to select things with. That's something that I probably need to design out on paper first. So let's for fun just start blocking out a stage. And then we also don't have to worry about what that would look like. In the main scene or anything like that, because we can just swap that out. We can save that as a subscene and then just bring that in as we want. That's also why I just copied the world environment and the direct line in here, because obviously if I have different stages, different environments, maybe even an outdoor one, that will become part of that stage. So we need to have some simple geometry to make this work. So that means that I actually want to go and steal something from one of my other projects. I always need to think about which one has it. This one should have it. Yeah, pattern. There we go. Thank you, Malcolm, for sourcing that from somewhere. I have been using this for I don't know how often. Assets. This is going to go on misc. Boom. So what we're doing right now is on geometry. In this case, I am going to use a standard material because this is just a stand-in material. Oh, not next one. I actually want you to be minimized, buddy. So I'm going to go and load in that asset. And that turns it into a nice checkerboard. A little bit more, too much brightness on that side, but that's okay. We're eventually in this scene not going to be using the world environment and the lights, or at least not this light. But the nice thing about this is that if you change the color, the whole block nicely changes because it's a black and white image. It nicely gets multiplied with that color. Now in this case, I'd want to leave it white. But the other thing that I want to change, for that I need to go change here. I thought that there were new handles on this, or was that only done? We must have only done that on CSG. Let me just quickly check that. Yeah, the CSG box has all these nice little handles. Boo-hoo. I want that on my normal box too, because I like using this much more. It is what it is. So I need to go and manually size this. So I'm going to make that one fairly flat. And let's see. I don't know. Is 10 meters big enough for a stage? And then maybe 5 meters. That should be big enough for a stage. And then I want to move it down by half. Oh, why is that not centered? That's interesting. Oops. That should now be flush. Okay. Now I really don't like my directional light here. What did we do with this lights? I'm going to take you off for now. And we're actually going to take that light off here as well. And then the world environment in this case. Oh, that's nice and dark. Yay! I wanted to do that on purpose. Because we're going to do an indoor stage, so we're going to do a spotlight. Now, this is a big question. Am I going to go down this route? Because to get a really nice stage setup, I would need multiple lights. And that is where we start running into problems, especially if my goal eventually is to run it natively on a Quest. Because when we're running natively on a Quest, we really want to use a normal directional light. So our other option is that we're going to go with the outdoor stage scene. So we're going to have an idea like this. That would solve the need to have, we could still do some spotlights, but we can do some El Cheapo spotlights that don't use shadows, and we just have the main lighting do that. Yeah, I think that is actually a nicer idea. That solves a whole bunch of annoying problems. So that means that we do want the sun in here. It's on the scene. Now place that back in here, directional lights. Now the problem is that I now did lose my split settings, so I need to go and reset those in a minute, but that's fine. We then do want a sky, but well, we're going to leave the procedural sky intact for now. But I'm eventually going to want to I'm probably going to want to replace that with an actual, what you call it? Panoramic sky. That's the word I'm looking for. So, stage floor. Now, let's then also go and create yeah, let's just do that now for placeholder. So that is going to be the normal floor, and that's also going to be a box. I don't really care about the size of that, but this one definitely going to be a lot bigger. Don't worry, we're going to deal with the color issues in a minute, because that is way over bright, and I don't know why. There we go. We're going to be having a back to this, so we're not even going to see that. Maybe I want that even bigger then. There we go. It's good enough for now. Okay. Then we're going to go add geometry, create new. I'm just going to do standard material for now. And I'm again going to go and assign my pattern. And I want that to be some sort of green. And now I can also see that I want my UV to be much more. There we go. Again, it's just a placeholder for now. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just having placeholder things just to map out a bit of a stage for our drum set to be on. And then eventually we'll figure out, to make this into something nice. But I just want a little bit of an environment that we're in, so that we're not just in a floating sky. But I'm finding it very overly bright at the moment. Now, I already have put my sky contribution down, so that's good. Maybe I want this a little bit darker too. That's fine too. So maybe then just for this one, we're going to go a little bit more like that. And I also want this one to be bigger. Whoops. That's the wrong scale. That wasn't the scale I was looking for. I wanted these. There we go. So one thing that we can do. No, it's the other way around. Now they're nice and square. That is because we do a 3-2-2 mapping of those. Okay. Okay. So again, I'm just interested in the rough shape of this. Eventually, we'll build out a couple of things nicely in Blender, or maybe someone will help me with some assets for this. For now, we just need to have something that has the general shape of what we need. So the next thing is going to be interesting because we don't really have something that can make that shape as a mesh. So maybe I'm just going to have to use CSG after all. Hey, Adam. Thanks for joining in. Sorry that I'm a little bit less prepared tonight, so it's a little bit less interesting maybe. Although we did have a really good talk at the beginning, which was good. Sorry, I'm just refilling my glass for a second. All right, so let's just use a CSG polygon for a few of these things. Yeah, I'm just going to channel it to the floor. That's fine. That is nicely on the floor. That's good. That just can have a depth of 0.1. There we go. All right. Then the vectors. Nope, that's the wrong way. Is that good? No, it should be 5. I remember that we made it 10 high. So now this needs to be -5. Whoops. Not you. And this one is -5. So we're going from there to there, straight to there, down there. We want to, first of all, make this higher, and we want to make this a arch. So let's do the higher first. 2 meters should be good enough. Okay. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. That does work. So let's do little 3. I'll do. Okay. Let's do -3 and then 2.5. You really have a nice curve tool for something like this. This is where I keep wanting to get into a different project that I've been planning for a long time, and has revived my procedural mesh generator. That would be really good to use in this case. Okay. Yeah, that might be better. Where are you? Not the clearest interface, this. Yeah, so. Yeah, that'll do. Need another one. That needs to be there. So now we're going to go and do it the other way around. So that is going to be 2 and then 2.9. And then we want a 4 and 2.5. And we have a sort of round backing to that. And here I'm going to do something that I don't really like, but now it is only needed temporarily. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go and do a clear here. I'm actually going to go to the stage floor. I'm going to give this resource a name. Stage. And instead of scale, I'm actually going to make this tri-planar. And we should be able to put the scale back to 1. And that means that it's going to be using our world coordinates. That's fine for something like this that we're making. But that could potentially be too costly for a mobile application, especially when overused. But for what we're doing right now, it is more than good. And that gives us just a temporary look for that. So now we can use the same sort of polygon to, so here, this is going to be stage back. So for this, we're going to go over here and then up here. Something or other like that. I will place that correctly once we have got some of this set up. Because we're going, okay, that's just one high, so I'm going to actually go and line that exactly up at the top. I could probably position this much more accurately by doing it differently, but that's fine. Okay, so in this case, we are again going to go to -5 for that, -5 for that, and 5, 5. Whoops, that's the wrong one. 5, there we go. So let's make the top arch first. So that actually goes, boom. So we can actually abuse this one. So that actually -4. And then if I remember correctly, that was 2.5. Oops. That is then going to be 0.5. There we go. So that is indeed there. We can do the same thing with our point on the other side. So this is now going to be 4 and 0.5. Now we can add an element in the middle, which is then just like that. There we go. Again there. Now I need to do one on either side. That was, I think, -2 and then 0.9. It was. And we'll do the same thing on this side, but then it's +2 and then 0.9. There we go. So that makes the top of our roof nicely the way that we want it. Now we need to get a center arch going. So we can go do that from this side. So I can go and do a 4.9. And then I can do, let's make this a 3.9. And then a 0.4. Yeah, that'll do. And then we're going to go to a 1.9, and that is going to be a 0.8. Sounds good. Then we want a 0.9. Then we want a -1.9, 0.8. And I think we're getting pretty close to the end. This is then going to be a -3.9, 0.4. And then minus 4.9. There we go. And that now needs to extend forward by 5 meters. There we go. That can actually be 4.9 because we have our width of the back wall. Cool. Now we have a nice little stage to sit in. Okay, so let's go and copy. Why do you keep copying it? And we're going to go paste that here. And we're going to call that the stage roof. Okay. And it gives a drummer a nice bit of shade. Yay. Now, hello.
So,
I'm making a stage.
have you dramatically failed yet, or is that coming later?
I think that'll happen before the end of the day. Yes. Okie doke. So this is already giving us a good view of the fact that I haven't improved this. So I'm just gonna go and make that max distance not that far away. 20. I think 20 is too close by. Really be playing around a little bit more with the splits. For now, this is good enough for what I want to do. I got hiccups. That's not good. I'm seeing these are boxes, and there's actually not that much. I'm actually going to go and make this tri-planar as well. Gives us nicer boxes. And then obviously we're going to replace that with a proper texture at some point in time. So we have a nice grass field. Okay. What else do we want to have on our stage? Maybe a couple of those monitors. And again, the idea just is to just flesh it out a little bit to have, I don't want to go there. I just want to see the image. It's just to flesh it out to have some basic shapes. There we go. Yeah. Welcome. And indeed. Well, I'm mostly working just on my little drum project, which is not for the jam. I'm going to be disqualified from entering the jam being one of the organizers. But I am very much looking forward. I'm really hoping that by the time I wake up tomorrow, people have got some things that are starting to shape up, and I'm definitely going to be checking out other people's work and seeing what's up. And like I've said at the beginning of the stream, I am planning to hang around in the Godot Discord quite a lot this weekend. Just offering my help where I can. But for now, I'm just flashing out a few little things for my little drum game. But seeing that it's been a full-on day and a bit of a rough day, I do have to admit that I am a little on the tired side, and my brain is not really wanting to cooperate, but that's fine. So right now, I am just doing some placeholder stuff just to flesh out sort of the environment that I want to create for the player to be in. So the idea is that we're going to get a little stage here. Obviously, when we run, our drum kit is going to be at the back of the stage. So eventually we might have some more decoration around here. So I don't know, we might have some other characters playing around me. We're obviously going to get a bit of a crowd going at some point in time, so we just need to Need to find some fun things like that to do. And just see what will work and what will not. But for now, I'm just trying to just have some placeholder art here and there. And then later on, you know, I can see about maybe finding someone who wants to model me some proper assets that that are based on this. And then we should be going from there. So I just want to go and create these little boxes, or one of these little boxes real soon. And again, I'm going to just use a CSG polygon for that as well. So I'm going to move that up. And I'm going to now move that 90 degrees. Actually, I want to move that 90 degrees the other way. Come on. Steam VR really wants me to see that it's running in the background. Okay. Oh, I've accidentally moved one of my key points, so it is able to do that. That's funny. I think that was supposed to be there. No. What then? That's interesting. Oh yeah, because it doesn't always redraw those points correctly. That's right. Now it's there. Okay. So what does the cross section look like? So we got the flat edge there, and then two a little bit forward, and then there. Okay. Obviously, this is not a meter by a meter. I'm guessing that's about 30 centimeters. So let's resize it like that first. Okay, so now we already know those are the top ones. So I think then that needs to be a 45 degree. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Kind of looks like the right shape. I don't know if they're the right size, but it kind of looks like the right shape. I think that is probably about... No, that will probably be towards that sort of size. Come on. Steam VR, I know that you're running. If I minimize you, you can just stay minimized. Okay. Now we're just going to make this a nice dark box. There we go. We've got one of these things on the floor. I think they're like little monitors where people can see lyrics and stuff like that. But hey. So let's put a few of these onto the stage. Over there. Yeah, that's good enough for the idea that we at least have some things for decoration. Okay. Hey, Skunkinator. Hope you're having a good day as well. Yeah, I'm just trying to dress up the thing that I'm doing here, and the problem that I have doing this, besides the fact that I'm just tired and struggling a little bit, the problem that I'm having is that as I'm sort of making these shapy things, to dress up my my environment a bit, I am really starting to want to revisit my proc mesh library. Now, it is probably way too late to switch over to that. But I might do that for my next stream. I might take a break and start working on my procedural mesh generation. I built that ages ago for Godot 3, and I've been wanting to port it to Godot 4 for a long time. Because I actually want to create a box like this. And the box creation is very simple. You create a box, but then you want to start doing like beveling edges and stuff like that. And you really get onto the territory of doing a, going to a modeler and doing it in a modeler. But with my proc mesh logic, I could actually do it inside of Godot and just create stuff that way. Okay. Interesting enough, it is keeping all the handles here, which I don't think it's supposed to do. So yeah, that might be a bug. Okay. That gives me a bit of an idea. So let's see how that looks inside of that. Yes, VR, this time you are allowed to show yourself again. Okay. Now where's my controller? Ooh, I've lost all color. That's interesting. Come on, track my. There we go. And there is a bit of color, but because now I am out of sunlight, I don't have any light here. Everything is gotten really dark. Okay. So we need to crank up the ambient lights in a little bit. So this is one of the reasons why I really need a temporary drum set that is shown until because this is the other thing, is that there is a bug in VR at the moment that I still need to chase down, where the ambient light from the sky doesn't work properly. So that's why I have turned off, in the ambient light, I've turned off sky contribution. Because if you get the sky contribution up, we get the lighting from outside to take things into account, or to be part of this. But that's a bit broken. So I have actually sort of worked around that by putting some more ambient light in. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay. That's not right. It's getting a little confused here. That's interesting. I haven't seen that happen before. Okay, let's just reopen my main scene. Maybe it'll start behaving after that. So, I think for this, I am going to go and place a couple of instruments here to begin with. That's got to go like this. So here's a tom drum. And with that, I need to go and double check. Where are the tom drums going again? There. So that's obviously, let's go and position this one according to that, so that we have the first drum in the right place. And we'll work from there. Okay. And then we're just going to go and move that slightly like this. And then put another drum on the other side. Just so that when we now open our main scene, oh, that was the end, we can at least see that we have drums, and we can indeed see that there's no light falling on the drums. And thus they're just flat shaded, basically. But that's fine. That's fine for now. Oh, we could, for fun, put one spotlight in here. But I wonder if that is going to be too costly. That should now be somewhere over here. And obviously, at some point we can model a light as well, so we can actually see where it is. A little bit further, there we go. So with that, at least we have a light nicely shining in our eyes. That's fun. We could have some fun with that. Now the question is, do we want to have shadows enabled? I think on the PC we definitely want that. Because that is, of course, fun to have. Yeah, I'll just start there with that. Thank you too. Thank you for dropping in. Hi, Kasim. VR mapping tool for Beat Saber in Godot right now. How do you mean VR mapping tool? You mean a tool with which you can sort of map out the beats to which you're playing? That would be very cool. That's something that I need for this at some point. No, this is not a game for the jam. This is something that I've been working on for a little while now. Sort of started as a little experiment to see if I can make a drum work in Godot. And I've got the basics working, but now I'm just trying to build it out to a full game. But I really need to work out what exactly I want to do. So right now I am, just putting a little bit of a stage together just as a mock-up. Just to have a bit of an environment to put the player in, mostly until I get my head around what I really want to do next with this game. But yeah, I need to start pairing out a few things and sort of figuring out, okay, how do I want to do the next step? And I think my biggest problem that I have right now is that I really need to have a proper song set up. So that's something that I need to look at, the music. So that's going to be a big next part of this. And the other thing that I need to think about is a menu system. So right now, when the game starts, you're immediately dumped into the test song that I have, which is nothing more than just a hit one drum, hit the other, and repeat. I obviously need to start in a more simpler or like a not song environment. Just a place where we have some sort of UI where you can select which song you want to play. Where we can have some a scoreboard, that sort of stuff, and that you there then select the song and select something that you want to do, and then get in there. So that's something that I want to. That's probably the thing that I want to do next after this. But I'm not going to be doing that tonight. My head's a little bit too tired after today. Plus that I really want to. I really want to work some of that out and sort of have an idea already on paper or in my head, and then start building that out. So that's probably something that I might put on the agenda for next time. So for now, I'm just sort of trying to just dress things up a bit, get an idea, just a mock-up for a stage where I'll, an environment that I actually want to eventually build proper. You know, for now I've got that skylight in there, but eventually what we'll probably end up doing is having most of the lighting baked in. So yeah, we'll see, because that's lighting is definitely where, if I want to run this natively on the Quest, I'm going to start seeing issues. But that's going to be interesting to see if I can make that work. I mean, a tool in VR with which you can place the blocks utilized in the game for a level. Currently, there's only that on the flat screen. Yeah, exactly. So the same thing here. So when I play this, oh, I should, hold on, wait, can't do that yet. I need to add some logic in here. So we want to go and create a ready function here. So this is going to be fun. Ready. Thank you. And what we're simply going to do here is children. There we go. So we're going to remove those two drums because they're going to be replaced by the actual drums that we're using. So in this game, oh, there we go. It immediately starts. That again, that's one of the things that I need to fix, because also my drumstick isn't even in there yet. But you can see the notes coming down the note line, so that you need to hit them on time. Instead of slicing blocks, we have to hit the drums in the right order. Looks like a nicer environment now. There's a little light leak coming in through the roof. Well, yeah, as expected. Yeah, the shadows are definitely not set up right yet, but that's fine. But I don't have anything yet to actually create the song with, and you know that kind of works the same way as the blocks in Beat Saber, that you place the block along your timeline, or the blocks along your timeline, and that of course slowly moves towards you. So we've got similar things here on our song. So every instrument has a track, and there's just a list of notes. But yeah, I need to create an interface at some point in time to actually create that. And I haven't really decided yet on how to do that. Well, Katao, that's one of the problems that I have. I actually can't play the drums if my life depended on. I started this 2 weeks ago, so I've been working. This is the third night that I'm working on this. More as an experiment to see if I could get the basics of a rhythm game going. But I'm not a musician, so there is going to be a point where I'm going to get very stuck because I can't create the songs for this game. So I'm not sure yet where I'm going to take this, whether the experiment is going to be over soon and I'm sort of going like, I've gotten out of this what I wanted. I proved that I can build a rhythm game like this, and I might just put the source code online, and people can just look at it and play with it. But I will not reach that point until I actually have a song playing, because I do want that part to be finished, because there's a structural change that needs to be done the moment that we actually have a song playing. But I need a song where I can extract the beat track from. But who knows? You know, if I get that all to work, and especially if I get to a situation where you can create new songs, I might build this out to something that has at least all the normal stuff working. You know, there is a part of me that says, like, I can build this far enough that you can have a starting scene where there's some music playing on the background. We have an environment that we're in. idea for UI that I have is that you select things by hitting them. So instead of drums, you have UI elements that you still hit with your drumsticks, and that's how you select the song that you want to play. And then it loads the song and it switches over to the song environment, and you play your song. And there's a whole bunch of things that we can add in here that are basic things that I think that I'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. And whether I then go to the extra mile and actually start, turning this into a full-fledged rhythm game, or whether I've had my fun at that point in time, I don't know yet. We will see. That's the thing that I am not sure about yet. But I do know that I need to gather some more ideas before I can do more of this. Now, the other thing that's really interesting is that the shadows here are actually correct. So I wonder if there is a bug in the shadow code. I'm wondering if the shadow code is maybe not taking stereoscopic in, because that's all, I all wrote that on the Vulkan renderer, and maybe that didn't get put across on the, that would be interesting. I need to look into that. Well, Skoginator, that and that's not really the hard part for this, because as long as you have a way to create the songs, I can direct it to a different folder. That's not really a problem, especially for running it on the PC. Obviously, if you upload it onto the Quest, you would have to upload it along with the songs that you have. Although there would probably be a way to pull additional songs into the Quest. But on PC, the song is this trash file alongside knowing which instruments we have, and the song file itself. So that part of it should be doable in the base game. Well, that's one of the reasons why I was trying to do this, Kutal, was that I just wanted to have a proof of concept game to do something like this, because of the popularity of rhythm games in VR. It would be good to have an example game that is a rhythm game, even if it's just the basics and it has one or two songs. As a demo, it is quite an interesting thing to have. And as far as the performance latency is concerned, now the performance really depends on how much work I put into it. Obviously, if I'm targeting PC VR, I do have a bit of leeway there, but if I do want it to run natively on the Quest. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see how well that performs if I run this natively. And it's one of the reasons why I'm a little hesitant to just put a bunch of lights in here, because I know that is not going to work well on a Quest. But that is an interesting thing to do in the long term, is once there are some proper assets into this game and we have a proper look and feel to it, that what does it take to run it on a Quest? As far as music latency is concerned, in theory, there are already plenty of rhythm games in Godot. So yeah, we should be having that. Now, I did make it a little bit more difficult for myself, because when you look at you look at a rhythm game like Beat Saber, for instance, the song is just playing, right? You're hitting the blocks on the beat of the music, but the blocks don't change the music itself. The music is just playing. And here, I've actually made it to a point that hitting the drums actually make the sound. So the idea here is that you play a song where the drum track has been removed. and the drum track is actually what the player is playing. So if the player does a really bad job playing the song, it's going to um, sound pretty horrible. Now, I did put something in here where when you define the song, so again, right now it's just in here, but basically on every beat you can say whether the player needs to play a note. And again, this is oversimplistic, so don't expect this to be a fully fledged music thing. But I'm now setting every fourth note as easy. So this means that the player, every fourth note they need to play. Now I can put another one in here, which means that the player needs to play all three notes here, or all two notes in this set of four. But I can also say that's a normal note or that's a hard note. And the idea is that depending on whether the player has chosen easy, normal, or hard mode, he only needs to play, let's say if he's in easy mode, he only needs to play the easy notes. And then the computer will play the normal and hard notes. If I'm on normal mode, I have to play the easy and normal notes, and the computer will play the hard notes for me. If I'm on hard mode, I need to play all notes. So I need to hit the drums exactly the way that it should. Yeah, Skunkenator, that's probably a possibility. Or, create a little tool that allows us to make these songs. I'm not sure yet. It should, in theory, not be too hard to do. And that might be one of the projects that I'm going to have to tackle pretty quickly, because then also I can put that tool online, and anybody who wants to play, wants to make a pattern for me can go and make a pattern for me, and we might have a few interesting songs in here to play. So that could be fun. That could be good. And heck, it's even so far that you could play or prepare a complete track with the drum set without even without even having a background song. You can play it completely in the game if you want. I don't think I would be good enough to actually play it, but Godot, it's very possible that they did something like that. Yes. Because one of the problems that I do think is in a setup like this is that if the song sounds very off because the player is not a good drummer, so a player like me, I guess the game might not feel as fun. And that's something that I'm going to, that's something that I've been thinking about as well, is, adjusting the play of the note. That if you play it too early, then I'm just going to set a flag. Hey, he's played it. And then when it's actually time to play it, I play the note. And if I'm too late, I do start playing the note. But if I don't hit the thing in time, I mute the note and, like I said, play a blunders note. That's definitely a possibility in doing this. But I want to see how well this works with requiring the player to actually play the song, and to work with this approach where if you're on easy mode, you only need to hit a certain number of the notes, and the rest is just played by the computer. Okay, so what am I gonna do here? I'm a little bit sorry that I'm a little bit slow today. I'm tired and my head hurts. It has been a very, very long week preparing everything. However, I hope, by the way, I hope everybody's having fun with the jam so far. Of course, during my stream, I haven't really paid attention to the various places where people are discussing things. So, and I'm going to bed after this, so it's going to be very interesting to wake up tomorrow morning and see where people are and how things are progressing. Okay, we have a little bit base setup of this. I'm wondering, should I do more with the stage at this point? Or do I want to do something with starting to work on that menu environment? Because then I also need to think about, okay, am I going to load in the stage as part of loading in the song? So we have our instruments here. So let's indeed go and say we're going to save branch as scene. We're going to go and create stages here. And we're just going to call that test stage. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm actually going to remove that for now. And instead, I'm going to make that part of this. Okay. So one thing that I want to do. Okay, we have our clear, which removes everything. So that's perfect. So with clear, we're... Okay, that might also mean that we therefore want to clear the song. Yeah, I do think I want to do that as well. So we clear the instruments, clear the display, and then our song. Clear our song is just going to become a the song. So we're going to go and create an empty song. So that's all cleared out. Now that means that we're also going to do a note here. Oops. Now actually, that we're just going to add to the base here. So let's go to our test song here. No, for that we need to go to our song script. And what we're going to add here is, actually we're going to do that at the end. Export var stage, and then it's going to be a packed theme. There we go. And now we're going to go back to our song. So we still don't have that. Here's a stage. We're going to go load stages, and we're going to put our test stage in there. Okay, cool. Then let's go back to our conductor scripts. And that's just the scene. Okay. Our stage. Mode 3D. Bomb. Clear our stage. Is stage. Then we're going to do stage Q3. That's going to remove it. And then stage is no. Cool. So that should clear it. I hope that works. And then here we load our song. We create our instruments. And we do create our stage. If song, well, stage, does that not? Yeah, so I don't know why that wasn't auto completing. Then stage is song dot stage dot instantiates. Then we're going to do all at child stage. We do an if stage there just in case. There we go. So we're going to instantiate that, and there we go. So our load song here at this point in time, as I had already put it to do here, No, that is not C# code. This is all GD script. Could try to also make a mapping tool for this, since I think converting my current project will need saver charts to this game start. Wouldn't be too difficult once it's working. Well, Skunkinator, if you want to have a try at that, I won't say no. I take the help. Captain, I'm making a rhythm drum game. Is something that I've been working on for a few weeks now, about 3 weeks. I think this is the third night that I'm working on it. And I'm just slowly adding things and trying to figure out what to do. And Kieto, yes, good luck. Work on the jam. I hope you make something nice. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Just want to do a remove. I know that it gets automatically removed on a free, but let's just do it that way. So yeah, so we're not background loading here. So when we load the song, depending on how complex the song is and how much is being loaded, it might take a minute. But once we have some background loading set up in here, that should fix itself up. So let's go have a look and see if our stage still loads or if we lost our stage. No, our stage is still here. Very cool. Yeah, looking at the shadows, I am pretty convinced the excuse me. The shadows are probably not offset by IPV. So that is something I need to fix. Interesting. Yes, this is all in VR. As you can see, I was wearing my VR headset a minute ago, or a second ago. I love how YouTube is always a little delayed. Okay. So we now have the stage as part of our conductor loading our game. So the nice thing about that is that I put the load of our game in here. So I am saying load game. And actually one of the things that I might want to do here is I'm actually going to put a return bool. And we're just going to return true at the end. If there's ever... No, actually that doesn't make sense because eventually we are going to have a callback here. So yeah, that's going to be important. We're going to have a, and I am going to load that up here. I'm going to add a signal here. Song loaded. Okay. And we're going to go and emit that here at the end. Emit signal. Song loaded. There we go. All right. So that means that here, you can go and call back in here that, hey, once we finish loading, we are going to go and do that. So I'm actually going to go and move this a little bit up to here. I'm actually want this after being a bit nitpicking on where I do it. So once we load our song, once it's successfully loaded, we go here. So the idea here is that at this point in time, we will hide our menu system and start playing the song. Or maybe we black out the screen before we're loading, and then when loading is finished, we undo the blacking out of the scene. We will see. That's something to still think about. All right, so where is song is playing? So I'm going to post song is playing on false. And we're actually going to say here song is playing, which also means update playing. Cool. And that is just going to tell the conductor to start playing the song that we have. So now, oops, song is playing should be true. Okay. And then obviously when the song is finished, we need to react to that. That is something for later, because there's going to be other elements there. Actually, no, I am going to already put the signal in here, even though we don't have the detection yet. For when the song finishes playing. Okay. All right, this is actually wrong. Let me think. What am I doing here? Yeah, I don't actually want that in here because this stops it from being able to pause it. So we have a clear. We have a load song. Let's do a reset song here. And that is where we put this stuff. And I'm not even sure if we're ever going to be using the reset. Okay. So here we remove all instruments, we remove all display tracks, so that's all clear. Temporary that is fine. So we are then going to do time 0 here. Because eventually the time is going to come from the song that we are playing, but we don't have a song to play yet. So that is why we don't have that. Maybe I should just, have a samples, example song in the background, but I'll figure that out for next time. That I'm just going to put a test song so that at least we've got some music, even though we're then just doing dumb things with the drums. But then we can at least get the timing to work properly. Okay. So a load song sets our time to 0, creates our instruments. We do a clear at the front, so that's going to remove everything. Bit of reset, we're going to put the time to 0, and we're going to clear our tracks. We don't have to do that here because we haven't even created our tracks yet. So that makes sure that notes aren't displayed until we actually start playing. Because obviously that's something that we do in our process delta. Okay. So the other thing that I really want to do here is if we're not playing, but we are in a process, we're going to do set process false. So this is going to disable our process so that this doesn't continuously keep being called when we're not playing our song. And that extra set false is just the security, because the existence of a process function will do that. Now that means that also for our property playing, where was our property playing? I can no longer see that. Show notes. Here we go. Here we're going to say if playing, you set process to true. So we're not setting it to false here. That happens in here. That means that we could add some cleanup in between here if we need that. We don't need that right now. We don't have anything to do there. But if there is something that we want to do as part of the pause process, or maybe the moment that playing becomes false, we want to sort of play something or do something with the sound to not play immediately and do a hard pause. We could do a little bit more in there and then only set the process to false when we're completely done playing the song. So that is something to figure out. Okay, so that clears that bit up. So we now have our instruments, we have a display track, we have a song, we have our stage. Cool. So with that, in our main scene, when we load our main scene right now, the first thing we do is we kick off loading our song. That's now something that we want to remove. But if that is successful, we get the callback to onConductor song loaded. We say song playing is true, and we do update playing, which will make sure that if our other things are happy, that we actually start playing our songs. And that's just a protection that if someone moves or does something weird, we don't start playing too early. Okay, so let's also, okay, we don't really want that in there. We're not doing any process stuff in here, so let's get rid of that. Let's go and create a function, and we're going to do play song. Boom. And obviously there's going to be more in here than just this, but that's going to start playing that song. Okay. And that means that here now we're going to call play song and do that. So that might not seem like much right now, but that's just structure, because we're not going to be calling this from here. We're going to be calling that from whatever menu system that we create, which means that we, actually let's do some remarks here. And this is add fade to black or something like that. Hide menu scene, load song, boom. And then we come back to here, and here we can say fade from black, so that we can see our stage, and then start playing. Okay, so that's stuff that we need to start building. All right. Right now, the way that it is built, oh, why doesn't it want to open this up? Oh, because I'm in the wrong place. So you can define the number of tracks that we have, and each track has obviously our note lists. Oops. And it has an instrument selected. And then when we look at the instruments, we have an open scene there. Yay. The instrument specifies the sound that it makes. Now, the only thing that right now we can do is play that sound on the beat. So, and the only sort of the variation that we right now have is that depending on how hard the player hits the instrument, we change the volume. There's nothing in here right now of what we should be hitting, so that we could have some volume control in there. So that's probably something that I do want to add in. I do at some point want to make this track info a little bit more, have a little bit more info. So not just whether we play a note, but let's say that we want a volume range or something like that. But we're not doing anything with pitch or playing a different sound. Now, one of the things that I do want to be able to do, or actually it's kind of already possible, is that we could have a track that is not played by the player, but is purely played by the computer. But it's not a full mod track or synthesizer where you can play that instrument at a certain note with a pitch, with, you know, all that sort of jazz, because it's based on a drum game where, you know, the drum sound is a drum sound depending on, you know, hitting the drum. As far as I know, you know, I might be missing something about playing drums here, but Hey, George. Yeah, 4.2 is pretty good, isn't it? I might be doing another stream before Christmas, but yeah, you are right that Christmas is approaching quickly. Then again, we're only at the 1st of December right now, so it's not that quickly yet. Still 25 days away. Okay. Back to me. So yeah. So the thing that I'm thinking about right now, and the thing that I might just want to do as the last thing for tonight, is get that main scene up and running. Now, there is another problem that I have with main scene. An age-old problem. And that is that we're going to have competing environments. Because obviously the scene that just got loaded has a world scene and brings in an environment. Actually, let's start with implementing our fade to black. Or probably better said, I'm going to steal our fade to black because I've written that many times before. So let's keep that in because that is my folder. We already have a blackout. Maybe I already put it in here. Did I put? I did put a black. Oh, because that is the blackout for that. Okay, so we're gonna want to have an overriding fade. Okay. How did I do that again? I did a okay. Well, there's an interesting thing to do. Okay, I might actually want to just do a double fade in there, even though they kind of overlap. So we could be double blacking out the screen, but that doesn't really matter. But we're going to put a blackout scene in here. So all that does is make everything nice and black. Okay. So, good question. So what we're going to want to do is fade this to black. And one nice thing to do that is to use a tween. The problem is, it's been a while since I used tweens. So I can create a tween. Tween the property. I just want to react on when the tween is finished. Okay, let's read this through properly because I haven't used this tween. Lightweight object used for general purpose animation via script using tweeners. Yay. Tweens are mostly useful for animations requiring a numerical property to be interpolated. That's perfect. Tween is more suited for animation where you don't know the final values in advance. We kind of do that in this case, but Though I guess we can do you know what? We'll just use an animation plug. Let's not make it more difficult than it needs to be. So I'm just going to add a animation player here. And we're going to create a new animation called fade. Okay, it's fade in when we, yeah, so I think fade out. Fade, actually, let's do that. Let's go and rename this fade to black. There we go. And then when we have a blackout, we're going to create a keyframe. Create. I think 1 second is way too much, so let's do 1.3. That's good enough, I think. There we go. And that is then going to go and be like that. Boom. So, nicely to black. Perfect. And then we're going to create a new animation, and we're going to call that fade from black. And this is then going to start with black, create. That's also going to be 0.3, and that's then going to fade to white. Boom. Okay, now the other thing that is really important is, and I completely forgot about that, we want to create this visibly, and then we want to make this invisible. Cool. And in our reset track, we do want that to be invisible by default. Yeah, that's fine. I want it starting invisible. And then in our fade to black, we start, no, we just make this visible. Boom. Because we're going to fade in. We don't care about the value before. It was already visible, fine. It's on the fade from black because we get all the way to light. That's where we want to hide this, this object. Interesting, by the way, that it doesn't do that. Now it does. Oh, I must be getting back to the start one. Okay, perfect. Sweet. So now we are using the animation to fade to black and fade to white, which now means that I can do here, animation player, play, fade to black. But now I can also do a wait, animation player dot animation finished. So basically that means that we're going to fade to black. And then I'm going to wait until our animation has indeed played that full animation. And the same thing here is we're going to do fade from black. Boom. And then we're going to wait until that's finished. And only then do we do all of that. Sweet. Now we don't have our menu scene yet, so that's probably going to be the next one. So let's create our new node here. And that is going to become also a node 3D, one, menu, main, menu. Now I actually want to have our main animation player there. I want you there. No, that's going to be part of my player. Conductor main menu. I want my main menu in front of the conductor. I don't really care. It doesn't matter that much. All right. So we are going to create an environment. And we're going to go and give that black background. And we're going to give that plenty of ambient color. And I'm going to go save that. Save. Where do I want to save that? I'm just going to save that for now. I'm going to create a folder and say main menu and main menu environment. There we go. Hi, Noobs Gaming. It's been a while, that's for sure. I'm working on a little rhythm game thingy. And I'll run it in a minute. I just want to get this this bit working. That's also a good one. I probably want to hide that bar. Let's see. Actually, that's a good one. I am also therefore going to go and say conductor visible true. That means that we're going to make our conductor invisible when we start. And actually we're going to go. No, that well, when we return from our song to our main menu, we will do with hiding the conductor again. Okay, cool. So here we can actually say main menu dot visible is false. There we go. We no longer need to see you. But then the other thing that I want to do is onReady for main menu environment is preload. And then I want to go to my main menu folder and drag that in. And there we go. I've got my main menu environment in there. Very cool. All right. Which means that we're now on our player scripts. We're going to make it possible to override the environment by setting the environment that we have over here. One of the things that's going to be really interesting, because I've never tried this, is I'm going to make an export of var environments of type environments. And we're going to go set value. Environment is value. And then if is inside free update environment. Boom. We're going to do that over here as well. And actually, I like to have that defined close to here. What the? I must have removed something. Actually, I need brackets there as well. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say XR camera dot environment is environment. Cool. So now in our main scene, here's our main scene. On our ready, hide our conductor until a song is loaded. Make sure we use our main menu environment. So that's going to be player. And only will auto commit if we have that open. But it hasn't figured that out yet. That's interesting. Is main menu environment. There we go. And that means over here where we hide our main menu. So here we're only faded to black. So here we obviously also want to clear our environment. I think it's enough to put that to null. Okay. Cool. Let's go and save branch to scene. That's going to be a main menu. So we're going to create our scene there. Boom. We can create a script on our main menu. I'm pretty sure we'll have stuff to put in there. And for now, we're just going to. I don't really want to use an instrument for that. But we are going to do something similar. So when we look at here, GD instruments. What is GD instrument like? Pretty sure that's a static body. Yep, that is. Okay. For now, all I want to do is create something we can hit. That needs to have a mesh instance. And that needs to have a collision shape. And let's for now just use a placeholder, a little boxy thing. It's probably way too small, but we never know. Box shape, let's do the same thing here. 0 0.2, 0 0.1, 0 0.1. There we go. We've got. Yep. Then I don't want this to be that close because we're going to be in a bit of a weird position, but we need to have that somewhere that we can hit. Okay. How did that work again? It's fine. Okay, if we hit something else, we hit something. If it's G instrument, we do something. So in this case, we're going to have to make some sort of base object out of that. Noobs, I know that feeling. You know, sometimes you just life catches up with you, and you know, you just can't find the motivation or time to work on the things that that you like to work on. Part of life, unfortunately. What am I going to call this? Let's go and save this. Something. And that needs to also have that. And that's going to be a class name GDD UI element. Okay. Now, no, hand. Where's hand? Okay, so if we have a hit object as GD instrument, we do all that beautiful stuff. Else if hit object is GDD UI elements, then we're just going to do hit objects dot hit. We don't really care about velocity or position. UI elements we just touch, and that does a hit. So I don't really think that we need to do a touch and release, but we might make that work even a little bit more. That we actually UI element rest. Not anything. Okay, then what I want to do here is if last hit objects And last hit object is GDB UI element. Then last hit object dot element released. It's not really accurate, but it is good enough for me. So that now means that on our element script, we need to have a, I don't really care about these guys. Func element pressed. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, what I want to do here is hand, which means that on our hand script, we want to do self, oops. And here we got element released. Element released by hand. So obviously, the idea is that we could create different UI element objects and then create different logic against that. And this is just what's being called into there. Okay, cool. Which also really means that I want to go and do here, and I want to go and make sure that that is reset. And I'm just going to, we are going to have to recreate these, but that's okay. Okay. So I want to actually clear, and actually I don't even want the mesh instance on here. I'm going to go and clear that. So that becomes our base. I'm going to remove you for now. Bye. And let's now just go to that main menu. Where are we? And we're going to go to new inherit scene. This is going to become a UI button. Mesh instance. Boom. Now we're going to go and create our box mesh. I think this needs to have a size, shape, 0.2, 0.1, 0.1. There we go. That's going to be a UI button. Perfect. Okay, so that is now our thing. And for now, we're just going to go and use label 3D. We might do something else eventually. And that we might resize it. So button, that gives us a bit of a size idea. I do want this to be smaller, but it gives us a bit of a, well, okay. Good enough for what we want to do. Yeah. We just need something, right? Just something for the start. So here we get our button, and we're just going to move that back a bit so that we have something that we can hit. In our main menu, there we go, we have a button. Okay. So now actually our default little drums, I don't really care about them anymore. No, I'm going to leave them in. But maybe that eventually becomes a not so important thing. So let's just hide that for now. What I can see is that obviously we don't want our button on the floor. We want that nicely up, maybe a little more forward. How's that looking? That's way too much up. 1 meter. That's probably good enough for now. We'll see. That is 1 meter high. Player. Camera. Oh, yeah, now that's right, because we're going for a seated experience. So I've put it in a place where it makes sense for a seated player. That makes sense. Okay, so we have a button. So what a button obviously needs to do, I am going to go and close a few things that we're currently not working on. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that. So obviously we also need to go here and say extend scripts. Great button. No, I don't want anything in there. Let's also start closing some things here that we currently aren't working on, so that it becomes easier to manage. Okay, so obviously here we're going to go and implement those. So here we simply want to do a signal button pressed, and we're going to emit that over here. I'm not really going to worry much about it. So if we hit it with both sticks, then I guess we get 2 button presses. That's fine. We're going to keep it nice and easy and simple. And we don't really care about the release. Okay, cool. Which now means that in our main menu, where I hopefully have a script. Yep, I do. So here we're going to go to Node. We're going to go to our button pressed. Actually, let's go and do a little bit more here. Because one of the things that I'm going to do here is export text string set value. Text is value if is inside 3. In this case, I'm gonna what? Oh, sorry. Var text. There we go. And here we're going to say label 3d dots text is text. And now obviously we also want a func on no, ready. Here it's overkill to do a whole update thing. Good enough for that. So okay. That should mean that in my main button menu here, I can say start song, and I should just be able to say start song. And obviously, since that's not a tool script, that's not immediately going to work. Okay, let's change that. I want this to be a tool script. There we go. Pretty. I now need to reload that for that to work. Where are we? Main menu, main menu, main menu. Here we go. There we go. So now we should be able to do. Okay. Block is big enough because I was thinking about making the block auto size, but I think that is good enough for what it is that we want to do. So we have given that a label, we've given that a name, so now we can go and do on start song button pressed. That makes much more sense. I don't care about any of you, so let's take that out of there. And here we're simply going to put a signal. Play song. Song. And here we're going to say emit signal. Actually, I want to go and take that from our main scripts. Song file name. Song file name. Boom. And here we're going to say emit signal. Play song. And the song that we're going to play is this one. Boom. So this means that we're actually not going to play our default song. I'm going to put that over here. So basically, when we hit that button, we're going to trigger loading our song. Now, obviously, Eventually we'll have lots of UI elements with things, but that is good enough for now. Skunky, that is indeed so, and especially in VR. And I am doing the absolute basic here, just a block that you can hit, but that's just to prove the concept. And indeed, after the concept works, which is also why I'm making this a more generic call. You know, once the basics work, we can start building things out. There we go. So in theory, if we now run, we should be in a black environment. Oh, we still have our 8 to center. That is cool. I need you. And we have our start zone. Now, obviously, I don't have any lighting in here, so that's why my block looks just very dark. There we go. We've got that. So obviously my ambient thing is not good, but I hit that. And now we are in our song. Yay. And we go. I need to have a scoring still. Oh. Still get that sometimes does a double hit, and I don't know why. I need the scoring. Sometimes it, and I think it's a tracking issue. Because I haven't made it bounce or anything. Sometimes it double drummed it. It's that guy. I think that is probably tracking, because you can see that the, you know, I'm blocking one of my lighthouses in my body at the moment. And the other lighthouse is way over there. It's not in a good position. That's something that I actually need to fix up for next stream. I need to place my lighthouses in a much better position so that I know that my tracking is on par. Although there is an argument for making sure that we maybe make it a little bit less likely to double hit something. So I did do a timeout thingy in there. But if you really want to hit it quickly and you actually are doing that, then obviously that'll be a problem. One thing that I'm thinking about is trying out Jolt with this, see if that is more stable, as in detecting things. However, we do now have our start here. Now, our environment was way dark, even though I put the ambient lighting pretty high up. So that's really interesting that the ambient lighting didn't seem to be doing that much. Probably because I just need to put that color. Is that it? Let's see if that's true. That's true. That's indeed a lot better. So I still had it set to background, so I actually didn't have it facing on the that's the speed that I'm actually thinking that this should be working at. So I don't know. It just feels that my notes are going way too slow. But I don't know. So yeah. Yeah, I kind of got that in there already. I've got a timeout, I think in the drumstick itself, in the handling here. Maybe I put it on the strike here. That's possible. So then it will be on the instrument logic itself. Yeah, because I got my can strike here, and that is on a delay timer. And I've got my delay timer on one. 100 milliseconds. And that might be too little. Because if we go, so I was playing this at 160 beats per minute. So what is that? 60 divided by 160. So that's every 0.3. So I think if I put this on 0.3, then I should still be able to play on the beat without it. But it does mean that, you know, I can't play faster than that. And maybe I should actually make that part of the beats per second that is set up. Yeah. Oh. I'm doing both my things now. Come on, track my hand. There we go. Okay. That's the problem that I have, is that right now, if I go fast on that rhythm, I'm actually missing things. I'm not timing it right. Anyway. Yeah. I'm not too unhappy about that. I think maybe I'll put it on 0.2. And maybe it's something that we eventually calculate based on the, instead of hard coding it in here, maybe make it like, you know, if you play it at 160 beats per second, we say the maximum will be 320 beats per second. And based on that, we do our wait time. That might be something worth trying out. But I think doubling it from 0.1 will already help a lot. Okay. I actually want to copy that on our UI elements. That's the whole idea. These should be implemented. Okay. Now the other thing is, okay. Sorry, I need to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. All right. I think that would be a fun thing to do as the last thing. Yeah, sorry, beats per minute, not beats per second. 160 beats per second. I wouldn't be able to hit the drums that fast. Actually, I also want to go and find out where I still have this, because we don't need that print anymore. Finding files. Let's just search for print. Here we go. So still have that as a debug in there. We are happy with that all working, so we don't really need that anymore. Okay, so what we're here going to do is we're actually going to do an export bar node level, and we're actually going to copy that in on here. Set of value from difficulty is value. Cool. And in this case, it is an if is inside tree updates difficulty, and I want to make that underscore update difficulty, which means that I also want a ready function that we call the update difficulty, and then we say a func update difficulty, and we do a pass there. Okay. We also want to do a signal here. Change difficulty. Okay. Let's see. What I now want to do is I want to go to the main scene, and on our ready here. Actually, I'm gonna do a set up our menu, and we're gonna set our environment, and then here, let's go. It's main. We're gonna say main menu dot difficulty, and we're gonna get that from the conductor. So we're going to default that to the difficulty in the conductor. So if we have that saved somewhere, and assuming at this point in time that we eventually in the conductor will start loading some default settings, or maybe we do some default settings loading at the start of our ready, because obviously we want to save player state at some point in time. But for now, we're going to go and make sure that the main menu is aware of that. Maybe we move this into an autoload script at some point in time. That might be something that we want to do with some of these sort of settings. We shall see. That's easier to change when we do it this way around. However, in this case, in our main menu, we now have our settings. So here, actually, that means that I want to do some more things here in our UI thing. Because what I want to do here is just like we have an export text. I also want to do an export of our color set value. Color is value, so we're going to start with that. However, that also means that let's go into this. We actually want to change the color of our mesh instance here, which means we're going to go and do material override. In this case, I'm going to load from our shaders materials. We first need to create a shader material. Then we can go and load from shaders materials just a simple color material. There we go. What does that look like? That looks like we now have a white thing. Very cool. And there we have that. Now, important here is that this needs to become local to scene. We need a separate material for every one of these blocks. Cool. Which now means that here we can do again an if inside tree, but in this case we are going to do update color, boom, which means in this case that in our ready we're also going to do an update color, boom, and we're going to go and create a function for update color, and in this case we're going to do for material shader material is mesh, oops, mesh instance dot material override. If we have a material, then we're going to say material set shader parameter. I think that was called albedo, but I'm not sure. I need to double check that. And we're going to just say that to color. Okay, and now I'm going to double check if that is indeed this color. Okay, color to color. Cool. So that should mean that if we go now into our main menu, we might need to reload our main menu. Yes, we do. Here's my main menu. I have too many folders open. It's a main menu. We can now go and change the color of our button. Yay! It's pretty cool. We have a color of a button. And in a similar way, we could change the text color, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I want another UI button in here. And this is going to be called easy. I'm going to call it set easy mode. All right, it's over there. I might actually go and do a new node 3D here. I'm going to flip these guys around. Hopefully that's did not screw that up. Cool. Now I'm going to go add my easy node here, which now I can now go and reset this stuff. Boom. I can move that over here. I actually want to give that color a default color. I don't like that. Color is color 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 1.0. So, okay. That's obviously not going to do anything yet here. But let's go and give this some other sort of color. Let's do a little bit of a bright green for that. I also want to go and move this up some more. Okay, I want to actually move that up an exact amount. That's too little. There we go. Easy. Let's create a second one. We're going to go move down a bit so that I actually want to exactly put on 0. And that is going to be set normal mode. Boom. Normal. Let's make that then slightly more towards color. Oh, that's not good. Why is that being... Okay. I put that local to scene. And with that local to scene... Oh, now it works. So that probably was not set when we loaded this in. That's possible. Okay, there's a normal mode. And now we're going to do our hard mode. So that becomes... Set hard mode. Now we've got that really close to our start song. So I'm actually going to move our start song a bit more there so we don't accidentally hit that one. And it's actually kind of the same for this. This is going to be tricky to hit. So interesting that is again. Somehow it is not figuring out. So when I duplicate it, I'm actually duplicating the material as well, even though the material is set to local to scene. So obviously, that doesn't work very well. Okay, so we got our easy, normal, hard mode. And that is indeed, I'm laying this out as a normal menu, but that's actually a dumb thing to do. We need to put them side by side and maybe in like a circle around the player so that it's easier for the player to hit it with a stick. And I think that is something that we might want to do kind of right the way. I'm going to do that here. All right. Okay, that's what we're going to call that. I'm going to create a... so why is it doing everything snake is? And then it doesn't do that on that one. Okay, so we've got a circle layout here. We're going to make a tool script in a minute. I'm going to create this as a placeholder. There we go. Export var radius floats. Let's call that 1 enough. Set value radius is value if is inside tree update children. Thank you. We're gonna do the update children on our ready. Where are you guys? All right. Bar offset angle. Let's go and make that a range from minus 180 to 180. Let's do that in 5-degree increments by default, and I'm only keeping that afloat to make it easier. Yes, I'm putting that in degrees because I like degrees better for things that are visual. Okay, so in this case, it is again going to be set value point, and in this case, it's going to be offset angle is going to go and be that. Cool. Is elements angle, that is going to be, let's say 2 degrees. That needs to be between 1 degrees and let's say 15 degrees for now, and that can be in much smaller increments. Element angle. There we go. Boom. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, we're just going to call that angle is offset angle. And then we're going to do for child in get children. And what we're now going to be doing, actually go here, angle plus is elements angle. I'm going to add it in. Okay, and then here, what we need to do is our position vector 3. Okay, position dot is cos angle times radius. Position that is in angle times radius. Position dot y is 0. Okay, I think that will work. Child, that's because that's not typed, so that needs to be just node 3D. Go, child dot position is position. Okay, child dot look at targets, and in this case that's in global space, I believe. So that would be actually that's good. Oh yeah, I can't override position here. So I'm just going to call this pose. And then here we're going to say position because that is the position of the thing itself. Okay. And now we're going to make this a tool script. And we're going to see this horribly fail. Let's go and close this. Let's go and reopen it. Let's go here. Okay. And that is, I'm so stupid. The whole reason I put this into the radius is that I wanted to make it easier for the player or the configuration guy like me, the idiot that I am, to understand what the angles are. Okay, fine. So here we're going to do vector 3 dot up. And here we're going to do true. And now I should be able to say, okay, that's cool. Put them a little bit apart. Okay. Okay, the problem is that I can't remember what the forward is. Okay, so luckily they're in there. Save. Yeah, that's about right. So first things first, we no longer want this that far away. That's better. Now we want this a little bit more like that. And the maximum element angle is done. So we're going to actually make that 5. We're going to make that 90. Okay. What about now? Can we now make this a little bit better? There we go. So there we go. We can nicely put those around the player. And hopefully that's going to make it nice and easy to do. Cool. And eventually we'll make some more of these sort of layout things to make it easier to hit something. But I think for now, this is good enough. So now we need to go and say, we want this, but we're actually not going to do it like that. Set mode. Boom. I guess that's going to be an int. That's going to be 0. Perfect. Connect that. Which means that this can be mode. Okay, so that should actually be 1. And I'll just connect you up. Int add 1. Now. Okay, what did I just... Oh, I've never saved it. Okay, so this is going to be set mode, but I am going to do it like this. And this. Okay. That's good. Let's do this again. Pick. Now I need to do add. I'm wondering if it has a problem with the fact that I'm setting this as an int. Okay. Two. Three. Okay. Let's see if that wants to work or if it gives an error on the fact that that is that's fine then. So the thing that we're gonna do here is, first of all, we're going to go and set the difficulty to our mode. I'm gonna call that, but we'll do that last. Change difficulty. There we go. And one thing that I wonder is, can I also type this, or will it fail on that? I don't know if VBScript allows that. It seems to be happy about that. So I'm guessing we could do this string as well. All right, News Gaming, thanks for joining. Have a good day. I'm going to be calling it a night soon too. It's almost 1 a.m. here. So the thing that I actually, by the way, wanted to do here is actually change the property on these buttons. So we'll do that in a minute as well. But now we have that. We now are going to call back in our main script. We now need to do a change that, so that goes over there. And that should simply be conductor difficulty is our new difficulty. There we go. Sweet. So that's just then to communicate it back to the conductor. Okay. So now the thing that I still want to do is I want to have a state on our button is pressed. And I'm actually going to do something with the color there. So in our update color, what we're going to be doing is let's just for fun say color 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, dot. If we're pressed, then we do that color, and else we do that. Cool. Now means on our main menu, what we can do is we can say, not you, circle layout, set easy mode is pressed, is difficulty, is GD track, GD notes level dot easy notes. Two. That becomes normal mode. That becomes hard mode. And I'm just doing I'm just doing the color because that's just easy and quick to recognize. But eventually we'll do something nicer with that. All right, so we have a start song, easy, normal, hard. We might need to put the radius a little bit closer because that's very far away, but it is on easy. Put it in normal, put it to hard, put it back to easy. I need to do a couple more things here, but because I actually want to do some force feedback, and I might actually always want to do that when I hit something, and I would actually like to hit a sound when I hit something. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Okay. So, oink, oink. So, let's do some force feedback first, because we haven't done it. I've only got the haptic as a action there. That is on the simple controller. It is on my index controller, and it is on my touch controller. So I've already set up the haptic one. So I'm simply going to do that on the hand, that when we hit something, we are just going to do a haptic pulse. Okay. This is an extra controller, is it? Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the things where I think I was going to do something and I never did. You are so smart, Baz, that you forgot and keep forgetting to do that. Okay, so we need to do that through a different way. What we need to go and do is that on the XR interface? I think so. Is that on the interface itself? We have a trigger haptic pulse here, but just in case, I actually want to have a look at XR server and see if I did that through this server. I don't think so. No. So I'm doing it on the interface. I need to remember to, because the original idea was that it actually worked on the controller. And that you had because some of the haptics can be not linked to a controller. You could do those then directly on the XR interface. The problem is that we don't currently have access to the XR interface here. And I don't really want to always keep searching that. So if I go and search, hold on. When I look at player, I don't think I'm doing anything here. I'm not doing anything to black out. We'll do it for now like this. Why not? Okay. Actually, it can be on the, yeah, it can be like that. Okay. Our interface. It's our interface. Is XR server dot primary interface. So we get the primary interface. If we have the primary interface, we're going to trigger a haptic pulse. That was called haptic. The tracker is now the tracker that we're going to get from our hand. So I think that can just be called tracker. Yeah, I think so. Okay. And then the properties of the haptic thing is something that I always forget. This really could use some more information. But I never know what sort of frequency is good for haptics. So OpenXR haptic. Ooh, I'm looking at the Unity forum. Why is the Unity forum the first thing? And why does the Unity forum not open? Does it know that I'm doing Godot and sort of go like, no, I'm not going to help you? Here we're going. So all I want is an idea. What is a good haptic? What is a good amplitude and a good frequency for haptics? Okay. Oh, maybe it just says something here. So frequency is a frequency in hertz. It's unspecified. It is left to the runtime to decide the optimal frequency to use. Yes, we can do that. Unspecified is 0. So I can just give it a 0, and then it's going to do something that it feels is good. I want to do an amplitude of 1, and I want to do a duration of 0.3 seconds. And I don't want to do a delay. So actually, let's give a delay of 0. Okay. No idea if that's good enough, but we will soon see. Well, you guys won't, but I will feel it. Okie doke. Let's see how that feels. Buzz, 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 buzz. Okay. 0.3 is way too long, but other than that, it is good. Oh, OBS suddenly disconnected and reconnected. It seems to have fun doing that from time to time. So let's make that a bit less. But other than that, I could very clearly feel it as I was hitting things. The other thing that I want to do in this case is play a sound when the thing gets hit. So we are going to go and add a audio stream player. Boom. Okay. Free sound. Just load up. I don't know what's wrong with my internet at the moment. And I just want to have a click sound. Okay, now I have a problem because I cannot hear what you guys are hearing. I'm going to have to put this on for a second. Yes, my headset is a little bit broken. And it's all tied up as well, so that's going to be fun. No, I just want to sing a click. No. Yeah. Okay. Actually, let's start first by Creative Commons. Okay. Why is it just running so long? That makes no sense. Definitely not. That wasn't even stereo. Oh, that was the one that I tried before. No. On something that just maybe I just need like something like a wooden block. No, that's something short. It's a tap on wood. No, absolutely not. Okay. Okay. Wood tap. No, I just want one tap. Yeah, that could work. Also nice. I want something a little bit darker. That's a bit too much. I think I'm gonna stick with one of those first. Oh, but I'm not logged in again. Really? Does it remember my login? No, not. I'm not gonna look up my login while I'm streaming, guys. I ran into that last time as well. Why can't these sites just remember my login? Okay, I'm just gonna leave this open because I will put that in there. I think for now, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use one of the sounds that we already have. No, this is going to be free sound list. I'm just going to do the hi-hat. Yeah, that's good enough. Just so that I have something that plays when we hit something. And I will replace it then with something that makes more sense. So, okay, okay, and that means that we're also going to do a audio. Actually, hit sound, hit sound. Perfect. Cool. Let's see if that works. So now I should have haptics and some sound. There we go. All right. Oh yeah, and I want to move these a little bit closer. Yeah, that's cool. And now the haptics feel nice too. And I like that it actually stops on there. That's really cool that I made that work. And it doesn't matter how I hit it, that always works. Ah. Okay, that is really cool. Obviously, I want to do something nicer when you've got something selected instead of just making it gray. I want to do something else that makes it clear that that's the one that I hit. We might want to do some sort of animation when it excuse me, when it gets hit. But that works. Now, what I also want to see is, yeah, I get the haptics, but the sound kind of makes me not feel it as much. Oh, it's time I hit the drum. Oh. Why is having problems hitting that? I think the shape is. Well, that might be something that Jolt will do better than Godot. All right. All in all, that worked pretty well. Well, obviously you guys can't feel the haptics, and I'm not playing the sound that I want to play here. But we have the basics of a UI going. We now have that our song starts. I think the next thing that I should do, but I'm not going to do it tonight because it is past 1 a.m. It is my bedtime. Well, I want it to be my bedtime. Let's say it that way. So, I think one of the things that I want to do next time is to do some scoring. And maybe start tracking some of that so that when I play a song, I score on hits, I lose points on misses, or maybe we reset the, what do you call it? The multipliers and things like that. And then we just, we need to detect when the end of the song is. I probably need to find just a song just to play. Something very short. That we then put a beat track on under. We'll see. We've got some options there. I've got some ideas there. I might just get one of the YouTube songs for that, because I'm hopeful that seeing we're on YouTube, I'm allowed to use the song on YouTube. I'm probably not allowed then to distribute the song for other reasons, but if I can, or maybe I'll just find a free song on Open Game Art or something. It's gotta be some songs that I could just put in there just for temporary. But on that, yeah, it was a bit of a weird night. I'm sorry that I was a little bit tired, so I'm not really as energetic as I normally am, but in the end, we got a bunch of things done. Obviously our menu is simplistic, just blocks with text on it. But it's, again, like many things in this project so far, it's improves the functionality that we're doing. Now, the other thing, of course, I completely forgot. I was complaining about the radius being way too much. Which means that we're now going to do something like this. And then something like this. There we go. Cool. Good enough. Maybe I do want it a little bit further. So there we go. And then they can be a little bit closer together again. But of course, you know, those things will need to be replaced by something nicer. We, instead of a single song here, we'll want to have a list of songs that we can choose from and want some way to, you know, there's a bunch of UI things that we can play around with. It might be a nice thing for next week to sort of go through, okay, what sort of other UI elements do we want here? We might want to have something that if you tap on something, we change the blocks that we see, that maybe we cycle that out and have a bunch of other blocks come in. Yeah, that's something to think about. But all in all, I am quite happy with some of the progress that we made tonight. I think that's where we're gonna leave it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. I hope I've convinced a few people to join our game jam. I am really looking forward to what people are building. I will be online tomorrow. I'm not sure when and how much, because I have promised to take my son out during the day. But I am planning on at least hanging out on the XR channel on the Godot Discord. So hopefully I'll be able to help some people along there. I might do a small stream tomorrow night or Sunday night just to maybe have a look at some of the things that people are working on. If there are some things online that I can, you know, maybe look at or talk about or whatever, but no promises in that. I am planning on doing a stream sometime during the week. After the voting has done, I might do a stream where we look at a couple of the submissions. That would be cool as well. Can't promise that I'll play them all on stream, but I might play one or two, or a handful, or however much we can get through, and that might be fun. You guys can see me make a fool out of myself playing other people's games. So I'm gonna leave it there tonight. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all guys all next time. All right, good night.